Why don't you go lay down? Lay down. Hey, quit fighting and go eat.
That is just over the course of the last 1.5 hours or so. And the protests continue to come in, including the minutes. Another update here, a relatively small one, but Puppies County is one of those counties that a lot of these folks left in. And you can see here, Biden winning overwhelmingly. Biden takes up another 1,000 votes or so. Next, another 1,000 votes or so. So now, 41,305 votes. That is the lead for Donald Trump statewide over Joe Biden. They continue to get updates. I'm telling you, just wanted to keep an eye on here too. We haven't gotten one in a while out of Philadelphia, where we know they're sitting on, about 70,000 votes they got to get through and report out. So, Philadelphia, again, we had a big batch from Philadelphia. We just had an update, and my producer Adam, where did that come from? Let's get right here. Delaware, okay, so Delaware County, we've also been keeping a close eye on Delaware and Fox outside of Philadelphia, the two Philly metro area counties have been reporting out a lot of early votes too. We just got sounds like a pretty big batch there from Delaware to get that down to 36,572 votes to draw Biden within 0.5%. You can see, again, progress that Biden has made here in the last several hours in reaching even tracking he took another. Keep in mind, it's been a long time, as I was saying, since the Philadelphia update, and yet Biden has managed to continue to slice into this Trump lead, now down to 36,000. And again, 70,000 votes, we think, in Philadelphia, 35,000 votes, we think, in Pittsburgh. Still, significant number of votes in Allentown, in Lehigh County. Those are just some of the big ones. Smaller counties around the state sitting on piles with a couple thousand absentee votes that they're looking through and then reporting the results out to. So just all sorts of possibilities there for Joe Biden. And again, continuing to hit that number. We say 76% of the early votes, the absentee votes, only 76% of it hasn't been processed. And that's why I think you've seen it every single update we've had tonight. Every time we've had new votes reported, it has been Biden chipping away at the Trump lead. Every update of the absentee vote is favored Biden. So we gave you the math earlier, and he keeps on that pace because the vote there told the left he would be well past that 3 years and ahead of Donald Trump at that point.
Two quick questions for you on that. Again, you described the 70,000 votes in Philadelphia County slot standing. You said that Philadelphia still sitting on about 70,000 votes. Again, with the proportion, partisan proportions that we're seeing out of that Philadelphia vote, that would be enough to actually put Vice President Biden quite helpfully in the lead. When you say they are sitting on those votes, and that we haven't received any numbers of Philadelphia in a long time, what are the odds that we're not going to get any more tonight?
Well, hopefully we got a report from Chris Jansen a little while ago that they were planning around the state to stay up and through the night and process these surveys. So hopefully this from the standpoint of getting all these ballots reported out, that's what's happening in Philadelphia. I do remember last night, somewhere around this time, we were told they were standing by around midnight. We're going to have a big batch of votes coming out from Philadelphia at 8 a.m. I think we got so these are the empty promises of an election night and election night extended.
ring at the end of the day?
Yeah, so provisional ballots in particular, I should say, provisional ballots, there were, is in the 2016 election, and I asked my producer to check me on this, but the number that's in my head for Philadelphia is 24,000. Is that, Adam, is that right? Any confirmation on that? I should have got confirmation before I said it out loud, but I do remember that there were a fair number of provisional ballots that came out of Philadelphia and Pennsylvania statewide in 2016, and then after the election that established Trump as the winner of the state, Clinton did erode the Trump lead a little bit on provisional ballots. So yes, if you got into a situation where this was razor thin and right up around the line, provisional ballots come into play. But again,
Likely to cut against Trump.
likely to cut against Trump, and the pace that Biden's on here is not an I need provisional ballots pace.
Got it. Steve Kornacki, thank you very much. Back with us now, political Lawrence O'Donnell, the host of the last word. Lawrence.
Thank you, Rachel. And joining our discussion now, John Ossoff, Georgia Democratic candidate for United States Senate. Thank you very much for joining us once again tonight. When we talked last week, you said you were prepared to keep running to January 5th. It came to a runoff situation. It looks like that's where it is. But can you tell us, do you have any information about the vote outstanding in Georgia tonight that could possibly close this gap that we're seeing on the screen right now and that could possibly get you to 50%?
Well, my understanding is that the outstanding ballots could very well push Vice President Biden over the top here. We're expecting a runoff in the Senate race, and I don't know if you remember, Lawrence, when I came on the show over a year ago to tell you that I was running, and I said Georgia is the most competitive state in the country. I know you didn't doubt me, Lawrence, but some people did. And I think that what's happening tonight demonstrates that Georgia is indeed the most competitive state in the country now. We have progressively built political power here. The state has become younger and more diverse day by day. The organizing effort led by people like Stacey Abrams to protect ballot access, and now potentially the presidency hanging in the balance. And I understand that at the latest count, it's something like a 2,000 vote gap.
Yeah, you started as a candidate in Georgia in 2017, special election congressional seat. You saw it then. You saw the possibility then. And the next year, Stacey Abrams ran for governor, and she was able
Hey, Google, turn off the micro.
over national media in the way that your single congressional district race couldn't. But the statewide possibilities were in Georgia. What did you learn from the Stacey Abrams campaign?
Well, even before her gubernatorial run, Stacey was deeply engaged in the work of voter registration, organizing and training volunteers to mobilize and reach out to communities that hadn't heard from candidates or campaigns in a very long time. Then, of course, my 2017 special election, which really woke up the nation to the changes that were occurring in this state. A state, as I mentioned, that's been getting younger and more diverse year by year. And Stacey's historic run in 2018. Each of these huge battles, win or lose, has been worth what we have built in the process. And now here in Georgia, we stand. Remember, it's two runoffs here, Lawrence, that will determine the balance of power in the United States Senate. And we need everybody to help us equip ourselves and resource ourselves for this fight. They can go to electjon.com, because the election day may be behind us, but January 5th, 2021, the fate of the U.S. Senate will decide.
John, also, thank you very much for joining us once again, and we will probably see you next week on The Last Word. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lawrence, it's going to be fascinating to see the way the Democratic Party switches gears from trying to elect Joe Biden, trying to elect Senate candidates, House candidates all around the country. All of that is around this election, to then see them focus like on laser on John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock in Georgia with so much at stake. That's just going to be a remarkable thing to see.
Everything's riding on it, Rachel. Everything about the future of a Biden presidency in domestic policy will turn on what happens in Georgia. They either get 50 senators, Democratic senators out of Georgia, or they don't, and it's a different world one way or the other.
Exactly, and if you want a Biden presidency that can have policy, then you need those two senators, otherwise you don't get policy. You get stasis at best, or Norfolk, good, too. I'm gonna jump across the studio now to Steve Cornett. And Steve, do you have Philadelphia numbers?
Yeah, here's the situation. I'm staring at our screens. I want to see if this updates. We have our own internal system that gets the reports and puts them in, but we're also checking the official websites. A lot of these major counties, major cities. In Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia's official election website has just reported out new results, and they're not yet in our screen. But I can tell you, remember we say they do about 13,000 ballots an hour. It looks like an hour's worth of ballots were just reported out, and the net gain for Joe Biden was 10,253, and that would bring the statewide lead for Donald Trump down to 26,319. That looks like, I'm just going on the website here, that's what we have in terms of finding these numbers. My guess would be that would be hours worth of process. Remember, they said 13,000 ballots an hour is about what they can process. But here it is, 26,319, it just came up.
You are exactly right.
I was tempted to try to get it in. It's there in the system. The system was 26,319. We just got about 13,000 new votes out of Philadelphia. So to refresh the situation, we get a Philly update. Trump's lead down to 26,319 statewide. If you deduct those 13,000, what we think are the remaining pool of Philadelphia votes, there should be still approximately 57,000 votes in Philadelphia still to come. Once again, this most recent update goes about 9-1 for Biden. So that ratio is holding. He's still winning the mail ballots at the rate we've been talking about. And again, 57,000 votes remaining in Philadelphia just seems clearly on track to be enough to overtake in that statewide lead. And then again, the question would be if Philadelphia and Biden get ahead of Trump, is there anywhere else in the state where Trump could fight back and get some ballots? We have been talking about and showing you for hours.
You were a good mama. Just let him fed.
Joe Biden, whether it's red, whether it's blue, whether it's a swing county in Pennsylvania, and there are lots of votes still left in those places as well, including, by the way, Allegheny County, where Pittsburgh is, and there are 35,000 absentee ballots that they are going to be reporting out, we believe, tomorrow. So all sorts of opportunities on this map. And again, when I laid out, I don't know when it was, 3 hours ago, whatever, we did all that math and we said, if Joe Biden is winning the remaining votes in Pennsylvania at this rate, he would erase Trump's lead and he would go tens of thousands. He is still on track for that. He is still on track for that with what he's been hitting in these counties and with what we are told is remaining in Pennsylvania.
And what this means, in addition to that math that you just did, and let's just not blow past the fact that you were like, here, this totally non-memorable 5-digit number is about to appear in our system, and then kaboom, it did. That was a miracle. What you just described there, Steve, in terms of the math, is important enough, but it also means that Philadelphia is awake and alive and counting. It means that Chris Jansen's reporting from earlier tonight, he's now at 10:45 p.m. on the East Coast. In terms of what that means for when we might have a number out of Pennsylvania sufficient to call the race one or the other, that just it changes the time horizon in terms of when we might know who the next president of the United States is.
I mean, if you look at it this way, the update we just got, again, was a 10,500 vote net gain for Joe Biden in that statewide vote. If you got 2 more of those, right, and if you think that's about an hour's capacity, just in terms of their maximum capacity, they can do 13,000 votes now. So if you got 2 more updates like we just saw, then Trump's lead would be sitting around 5,000 votes statewide. So really probably 3 more updates of the same size from Philadelphia would be enough to put Biden ahead. 2 more at an extreme level might really Jansen right at the line, but 3 more would put him over. And like you say, this has not been on a very neat, even, and tidy schedule, but the capacity exists for 13,000 barrels an hour to be processed. The will, according to Chris Jensen, exists to count these all night. So the potential is there for a few more updates like the one we just had to happen and to put Biden over the top. And by the way, it's not just Philadelphia, apparently. So again, you see these updates of 1,000 votes here too. That's the other thing. If you're getting a couple updates of much smaller, say you get one Philadelphia update, it brings this down to 16,000 or so. So if you get 3 or 4 smaller updates from around the state, they bring it down to about 10,000. It only takes one more update from Philadelphia after that of the same size, and Biden would be ahead statewide. So again, when we were doing this timeline, I feel like it was, maybe 20 minutes ago, Trump's lead was 42,000. So 16,000 votes have just been shaved off this thing in about 20 minutes. It's going fast.
And it's going fast. And I mean, the schedule that you're describing there, you're talking about the presidency in Pennsylvania being gone within 2 to 3 hours, conservatively, the way things are going.
If they keep doing it, yeah.
If things continue to go the way they're going, and if they continue to count at the pace that they're counting. And at that point, there would be tens of thousands of more ballots that would remain heavily blue that would still be due to count in. Sorry, Joe, go ahead. Either one of you, with what Steve just said, at what point do the probabilities disappear for Donald Trump to be able to come back? If we're talking about within 2 or 3 hours, Biden then goes ahead. And if what Steve is saying, from what I'm hearing, whether it's a red county, blue county, purple county, doesn't matter, the same thing is happening all night. I guess my question would be, at what point does Donald Trump lose any possibility of being able to come back in Pennsylvania? And then it becomes a foregone conclusion, right? And so I guess that would be the question. And at a certain point, what do you think the margin is for Biden at which Donald Trump cannot come back? Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to determine the number of votes. Like, it's not even a question of, I think at this point, it's a question of there has to be some kind of we find out, oh, wait, the state had Philadelphia all wrong. What we just saw from them were the last votes out of Philadelphia. Even then, as I say, there's all these votes. It has to be something, I think, on that realm right now. We said at the start of the night, we're looking to see, are there any of these counties where we get absentee voting? Oh, okay, it is possible that absentee vote could come out and Donald Trump is actually gaining votes somewhere. We haven't seen that happen in a single county that's reported out. We've seen some very red counties report out, but Biden is winning the absentee vote. It's just, this was in the polls. I think you mentioned this earlier. We were looking at polls of Pennsylvania voters in October asking, by voting method, are you voting by mail or are you voting on election day? And we were seeing results in these polls that were like, 79 to 17 Biden voters, mail voters were Biden. People voting by mail for Biden. I was seeing those numbers and I said, there's margin of error in polling. Is that wrong? But that is what we're seeing. Exactly. We're seeing margins like that. So it just seems like in Pennsylvania, one difference here, here's one thing I think when we say there's this extreme difference between the mail vote and the same-day vote in Pennsylvania, and we don't see it quite on that scale in a lot of other states. I think one of the reasons why is this. In a lot of other states, like a Florida, for instance, like a Georgia, we conflate, I think, in our understanding of this, mail vote. There's also in those states early voting. People can go out and election day. You go to a polling place, you check in, you get your ballot, you go to the, you're just doing it 2 weeks ahead of time. And we have seen in places like Georgia and Florida and Texas, Republican voters were very willing to do that. It was just mail-in voting. State after state, you have not seen it. Again, this is tied to the president was telling his supporters, don't trust the mail, don't do mail voting. So Republican voters seem to listen to that because in state after state, they were not voting by mail. In the states that allowed in-person early voting, we certainly saw Republicans participating in that. So in Florida, being here on 7 o'clock on election night in Florida, and we said, here's the early vote, and it wasn't great for Trump in some cases, but he had plenty of support in it. The early vote in Florida means mail plus in-person early. In Pennsylvania, there is no in-person early. Your choice is mail or same day. And Republicans chose same day. They chose it in Republican counties, they chose it in Democratic counties, and the people who chose mail, whether you're in a Republican county or a Democratic county, were Democrats.
And Joy, I think what you're asking, if I'm gonna tell me if I'm wrong, when's this gonna be called? And we should just remind you, I know you know this, and Steve knows this, I will just remind our viewers, we do not make the call. They have nothing to do with making the call. We have so much nothing to do with the call that the people making the call do not listen to us. They are not monitoring our coverage. They do not know anything that we are saying. It is a totally separate entity from us. And so they will make the call when they feel like it meets our standards, which are rigorous standards. And we can lobby and complain and question all these things.
It's not even that, but I think what happens is that everything Steve is saying is the reason that I'm texting and they are so confident they're going to win. Yes, and they're so confident about Arizona the same way because they feel there's a certain point at which, at least in they've got somebody doing math for them internally, and they're seeing the same things.
One of the states in which we are not hearing this kinds of expressions of confidence either way is a state where the vote count has been very slow. The great state of Nevada. Joining us now is Nevada Democratic Congresswoman Dina Titus. She represents the 1st Congressional District in Nevada, which does include parts of Clark County. Congresswoman Titus, it's great to see you. Thank you so much for making time tonight.
Well, thank you for having me back. It's nice to see you too.
So we have been talking with John Ralston, we have been talking with Ruben Gallego, we have talked with your, we've been talking with people in the Southwest all night about what's going on in Nevada and what's going on in Arizona. And Nevada is telling us to be patient. We don't feel patient. Do you feel either patient or confident about what is going to be released in terms of numbers from Nevada tomorrow?
I feel confident, but I'm losing my patience. I'm like you. I'd like to see counted so we can put Biden over the top as president. Our 6 votes are important. But the main thing is we want it counted right, counted carefully, counted so everybody's vote feels like it was a voice and it was part of the process.
Congresswoman, as we start to think about what those votes are going to look like tomorrow when they do get released from Clark County, one of the things I spoke with John Ralston about was the worry that even though the state is being meticulous and clear and not being pushed in terms of their timing, we're worried that, at least I'm a little worried, that by taking a long time and by having it stretch out day after day after day, Clark County may be putting a little bit of volatility into the mix in terms of them being targeted by some of the crazies, in terms of them being targeted by some of the people who are just trying to create chaos and trying to create an intimidating atmosphere. Are you worried about that at all?
Well, we've seen some of that already down at the registrar's office. Some people have turned out to protest. But where we've also seen it is with the lawsuits. You know, Donald Trump has sued the state of Nevada 3 times. Those were all thrown out. Now there's a 4th suit. But they're just being seen as frivolous, even by a Republican Secretary of State. I believe when they come with the numbers tomorrow, and remember, 90% of the numbers that are still right down here in Las Vegas, that's my district. I hope you all visited here. You've seen the people who are casting these votes, working in the casinos, working back of the house. They're the ones who want to have a say in this. And I believe the count tomorrow morning will be enough to let whoever calls it call.
In terms of the campaign, are you hearing similar confidence from the Democratic Party in the state and also from the Biden folks?
We are. We feel like if you look at where the votes are and what kind of votes still need to be counted, that they tend very strongly towards the Democratic Party. Certainly that's true here in Southern Nevada and in my district, which is strongly Democratic.
Democratic Congresswoman Dina Titus. Thank you so much for your time tonight, Congresswoman. It's great to see you. You're one of my favorite members of Congress to talk to on any subject. I really appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you. Please have me back.
I will do. Thank you. All right. Again, we are watching North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. We're not expecting numbers from North Carolina and Nevada tonight. Pennsylvania and Georgia, though, we keep getting numbers, and they seem to be important in terms of what they're putting out towards the potential results at the end of the night. Don't go anywhere. Our coverage continues with a special edition of the 11th hour with Brian Williams right after this.
Can you believe all the games we fit under one roof? help your small business any way we can. Every aid for small business, all in one place.
UPS store.
Daryl's family uses Gain Flames now, so their laundry smells more amazing than ever. Hey, these are suit time. More Gain scent plus Aussie Boost and Febreze in every Gain flame.
What kind of value are you looking for with your next new vehicle? Subaru. You get Kelley Blue Book's 2020 Best Resale Value Brand, 2020 Lowest 5-Year Cost to Own Brand, and Most Trusted Brand for 6 consecutive years. No wonder Kelley Blue Book also picked Subaru as their 2020 Best Overall Brand. A trusted brand makes easy to love a Subaru. Get 0% APR financing for 63 months on select new 2020 models now through November 30th.
This is an athlete 20 reps deep, sprinting past every leak in our softest, smoothest fabric. She's confident, protected, her strength respected. Depend. The only thing stronger than us is you.
What's great better? Unlike ordinary memory supplements, Deriva has clinically proven ingredients that fuel 5 indicators of brain performance: memory, focus, accuracy, learning, and concentration. Try our new gummies for 30 days and see the difference. I get my protein from plants like wonderful pistachios. Great. They also come in honey roasted. Plant protein from wonderful pistachios.
We got one of those new purple mattresses, and it is amazing. You have to try it. This feels amazing, right? What is it? Actually, it's a and it's a completely unique comfort technology, meticulously designed to create massive cool. It's our best Black Friday sale ever. Get $400 off a mattress and sleep bundle at purple.com/TV.
Priceline works with top hotels to save you up to 60%. These are all great. And when you get a big deal, you feel like a big deal. Priceline. Every trip is a big deal.
We didn't get less than 100.
If your dry eye symptoms keep coming back, inflammation in your eye might be to blame.
Looks like a great day for achy, burning eyes.
Over-the-counter eye drops typically work by lubricating your eyes, and they provide temporary relief.
These cuts probably won't touch me.
Xiidra works differently, targeting inflammation that can cause dry eye disease.
That's it. Xiidra.
It can provide lasting relief. Xiidra is the only FDA-approved treatment specifically for the signs and symptoms of dry eye disease. One drop in each eye twice a day. Don't use it for allergic to Xiidra. Common side effects include eye irritation, discomfort, or blurred vision when applied to the eye, and unusual taste sensation. Don't let the container tip to your eye or any surface. After using Xiidra, wait 15 minutes before reinserting contacts.
Got any room in your eye?
Talk to an eye doctor about twice daily Xiidra. Xiidra, not today, dry eye.
And good evening once again, day 1386 of administration, night 3 of what has become election week in our country. 5 battleground states remain too close to call. Joe Biden has, by our count, 253 electoral votes. Donald Trump at 214. Much of the attention tonight on the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, where Trump's lead has steadily eroded as we've watched. A win by Joe Biden in his home state of Pennsylvania would make him the president-elect. That gets him instantly to 270. In Georgia, Trump's once substantial lead has also dramatically narrowed. Both are must-win states on the Trump side. Today at the White House, Trump again falsely declared victory, adding a laundry list of grievances, lies, complaints, allegations of cheating, crooked votes, crooked polling. We also heard from Joe Biden today after spending part of his day meeting with medical experts on the pandemic. The former vice president called for calm and patience as ballots are counted.
Our country also set a brand new record today, 120,000 new cases of the coronavirus just since we last spoke last night. It erases the new record we set just yesterday. Especially for those who've been watching our coverage all night, knowing that the numbers are changing while we watch. We want to get the very latest on the count. So for that, back over to the board and Steve Kornacki. Steve, we watched the last tranche of numbers come in from Philadelphia.
Yeah, Brian, it was a pretty big moment there just in terms of how close suddenly things suddenly became in Pennsylvania. This is the statewide margin for Donald Trump right now. It is down to 26,319 votes. It is 0.4 of 1 point. And you mentioned, yes, it was Philadelphia. We got a batch of votes from Philadelphia, a little bit about 13,000 votes. Biden, as has been the case consistently, got 90% of them. This is a heavily Democratic city. These are the absentee votes, the mail votes, where Biden's been doing particularly well. So Biden picked up 90% of that new batch, and it brought the lead there for Trump statewide down to 26,000. Leaves us in a situation right now that is this. With that a total taken out of the equation, there's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 57,000 votes remaining in the city of Philadelphia. Okay, so we were just talking about Philadelphia. Biden is on course to 90% of the vote, 57,000 ballots, is on course to catch and surpass Trump. Then the question is, what is happening outside of Philadelphia? We are still waiting on some votes, mail absentee ballots from Delaware County, from Boston. We're waiting on some from Lehigh County. We are waiting on 35,000 of them from Allegheny County, where Pittsburgh is. There is a smattering of other counties around the state that are as big in population, but we've got 2,000 absentee ballots here, 1,500 there. And the pattern, no matter what we're talking about in terms of a county, in terms of its political needs, the pattern has been Biden is winning the absentee vote in every county we've seen with at least 60% of the vote. So he's picking up votes everywhere. Again, there's a pool of 57,000 or so left in Philadelphia. There's a pool of about 35,000 left in and around Pittsburgh. And there's a pool of tens of thousands left in counties like Lehigh all around the state. And there is nothing we've seen tonight that does not make us suspect Biden in every one of those polls is going to be getting the clear majority of the votes. And so we said this earlier, the pace Biden is on is not just to catch Trump, but is to significantly move ahead of Trump in the vote count. We are waiting to see if there are any curveballs thrown during these vote returns that suddenly Trump is able to win the mail vote in the county. He has not done it in a single county yet. The pattern seems very clear and very unmistakable. So the situation we're in is we're at the mercy of these counties. We're at the mercy of their boards of elections. We're told by our own Chris Jansen that they are going to be working through the night. When they decide to provide an update, they provide the update, they report it out, it comes into our system. We may get another update from Philadelphia. What we know in Philadelphia, too, by the way, is they say they can do 13,000 ballots an hour. And they just released, 15 minutes ago, 13,000 ballots. So I wouldn't look for another update from Philadelphia. People probably at least for another 45 minutes, but I don't know what timetable they're on beyond that. But again, if you got another update like we just had from Philadelphia, where they released 13,000 votes and where Biden's winning 90% of them, then this almost immediately, just that would basically halve Trump's statewide lead. It would be cut in half right there. And again, if we get updates, similar updates in these other counties, it comes down 2,000 votes here, 3,000 votes there. So you are just seeing this very, very steady erosion of Trump's lead statewide. We need to know, again, there's no schedule here for these counties. They will update when they update. If they were being honest with Chris Jansen when they told her they're going to go through the night, then I think you could just expect a steady, if a little bit uneven, continuation of this trend. There is no reason to think that's not what we're going to continue to see.
And a couple more seconds here, Steve. People just tuning in, wondering why the concentration on Pennsylvania. We have razor-thin margins in Georgia and Arizona and Nevada. Pennsylvania, because it's a must for Donald Trump. It's obviously the home state of Joe Biden. And for Joe Biden, it is a potential rocket. It's ball game to 270 if he gets it.
Yeah, there it is. Let's just look at the road to 270, Matt. Biden right now has 253
Only for curb your food.
You see the states that are unsettled?
I think this one I'm gonna have to put a second.
Pennsylvania, Joe Biden wins the presidency, 273 electoral votes. The rest of these become the exhibition games all of a sudden.
Yeah, but still could drag on for weeks of our lives as they go. Steve Koyaki, thanks for your another day and another night of your service at the board. Well, speaking of Pennsylvania, my colleague NBC News correspondent Ray Alice is with us outside the convention center in Philadelphia. Let's spare a word for the hard work that is going on. We're talking about 13,000 ballots an hour, which is easy for us to say. These folks are tired. It's a sprawling complex. They're on their feet on concrete. What a job.
Yeah, and they are not giving up on doing this job that they were tasked to do, Brian. And the numbers that Steve was talking about really are extraordinary in terms of how quickly this is going. Because it was just less than 2 hours ago that we were saying that they had 72,000 mail-in ballots left to be counted in this building here in Philadelphia. Now it's down to 59. And in fact, the Secretary of State, who is overseeing the election, she said earlier this evening that she thought the county was going to go so well that they might know who would be the winner here. She backed up from that a little bit, but her point she was trying to make is that they are moving steadily ahead. There hasn't been any hiccups in the county except for a little bit this morning because the Trump supporters have been mounting a very aggressive campaign to intervene in the county. And they filed a lawsuit here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, asking the court to stop the balloting for a while because they wanted to have more poll watchers in and closer in to see what was going on. The court ruled in favor of the Trump claim, saying poll watchers could be in and could be as close as 6 feet. Socially distanced, of course, because of coronavirus. This happened last night. It seems to be a steady thing here. Again, punctuating how important it is, the work that's going on behind you. But the point that what happened in terms of what the lower court did, they ruled in favor of the Trump campaign, saying, yes, poll watchers, Republicans, Democrats, Independents can be as close as 6 feet to those people who are counting that. That paused the count for a little bit and then it resumed. They're saying they're not going to stop from this point on.
All right, Raheem Alice in a sometimes loud Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, outside where the counting is happening. And with us now is NBC News correspondent Blaine Alexander, who for several days now has been covering the ongoing count in an equally critical battleground in Atlanta, Georgia. Hey, Blaine.
Hey, Brian. So I'll start with the latest numbers that we have. We just got some updated numbers from the Secretary of State. Across the state of Georgia, we're now looking at about 14,000 votes that are still outstanding, 14,097 to be specific. But what we're watching closely is the breakdown. Of course, when those votes will come in, but certainly where. That's the biggest thing. The two counties with the biggest share of those votes are Clayton County and Gwinnett County. That's major because they're both metro Atlanta counties. Clayton County is a heavily Democratic area just to the south of Atlanta, but part of metro Atlanta. And Gwinnett County is also an Atlanta suburb, and most notably one that flipped blue in 2016 for Hillary Clinton after being red for some years. So both of those, between the two, there are about 8,000, 9,000 votes that are still outstanding in those two counties alone. So those are what we're watching. An official in Gwinnett County actually just confirmed to our Priscilla Thompson that they're done for the night, that they're not going to be putting out their numbers tonight. So when you talk about timing, it's still very much a moving target. Keep in mind there are about 7 counties or so, 7 or 8 counties that still have not reported. So when you ask about timing, it all comes down to those individual counties, when they put their information out, when they post those numbers. The other thing that we're going to be watching very closely, though, of course, those numbers that we're talking about, but the Secretary of State's office has made it clear that in addition to that group, there are about 8,900 or so military and overseas ballots that could be making their way back to Georgia and B cabin if they arrive by end of day tomorrow. So let me explain those. He said he's not saying that there will be 8,900, but that's how many are out there to possibly be returned. So when you're talking about a margin that's as thin as 1,700 votes, which is the difference right now between President Trump and Joe Biden, literally every single one of those votes is going to be crucial. But it also has bearing on the timing, Brian. It means that if they come in at the end of the day tomorrow, that could possibly put this count into the weekend.
And as a pretty heavily military state, that's a big chunk of potential ballots. Blaine Alexander, where the count is going on, our thanks. We now want to welcome in two of our returning veterans on a most unusual Thursday night on their beats. Ashley Parker, Pulitzer Prize-winning White House reporter for the Washington Post, and Alexi McCammon, political reporter with Axios. Good evening and welcome to you both. And Ashley, I'd like to begin with you and your beat and a piece your byline appeared on tonight. We have to begin with the president, though we're not showing or playing what he said. We couldn't air it live because we frankly couldn't have it between the lies and the blatant attacks on our own system of elections in our country. Tell us what's been going on behind the scenes.
Sure. So the president has cycled through a number of moods in these basically 48 hours since the polls closed. And for what it's worth, just starting with today, what MSNBC couldn't air, frankly, is what a number of the president's own advisors didn't want him to say either. And that's what they spent the past day trying to prevent. So the president woke up this morning, he was angry and defiant. He wanted to say something. Initially, he tweeted, "Stop the vote." And the advisors kind of had to huddle with him and explain, well, sir, if you stop the vote right now, in fact, you would lose. So they workshopped a different phrase, "stop the fraud," which again, there is no evidence I need to say of any widespread voting fraud at all, but it works better for the president's messaging purposes. And then the president spent the day again wanting to go out and make the remarks that he ultimately did at the end of the day, and advisors cautioned him not to. They told him to keep a low profile, and they tried to placate him by saying, look, this is our legal strategy. Here's how we're fighting in the states. We have people and allies out defending you on television. Here's where we're fundraising money from donors for this big legal fight. But at the end of the day, the president, he wanted to go out. He wanted to make those statements. He increasingly, at first, came to terms with the idea that he might lose, but he could not accept the reality, which is that if he loses, it will be because he loses fair and square, because of what Steve Bernanke just outlined. And so he began saying if he loses, it's because the election will have been stolen from him. And as you said, that is basically what he said tonight in that press conference that you didn't air.
And Alexi McCammon, a fraught relationship between the Trump White House, even Trump family members, and Fox News. Fox News has the electoral vote count higher than us. They're at 264, they call Arizona, and that angered all the people around the president. Though I note they're still getting heavy air support, Team Trump is, during most of primetime coverage on Fox News. My question to you is, if this goes 270 for Joe Biden, if as early as tonight or tomorrow night, and we've talked about this before, can you name any potential profiles in courage, adult voices who can and will approach and talk to the president?
I mean, Brian, what we know about President Trump, especially at this point in his term, is that he listens to himself. And to Ashley's point in her reporting, even when his advisors huddle with him to try to explain these things, we still see the way in which he approaches the podium to say exactly how he's feeling and exactly what is on his mind, even if his advisors are saying this is not based in fact, and this actually wouldn't help you win what you were advocating for. So, it doesn't really matter. But what is interesting is we're seeing some Republicans slowly but surely come out and say things. Chris Christie, former governor of New Jersey, a high-profile Trump loyalist of sorts, was on ABC earlier tonight, basically saying, and I'm paraphrasing to the president, put up or shut up. Show us the evidence of what you're talking about or move on. And so we're slowly starting to see this. But, these former Republican officials don't really matter so much to the president. And really, at the end of the day, it's what the president feels and what he feels he needs to do to win re-election. And at the very least, to sow confusion and to cast doubt on a legitimate victory if that is what happens for Joe Biden.
And actually, there's already speculation. Would the president go along with the kind of pomp and circumstance? If it is Joe Biden who prevails in this election, would he go along with things like a transition, things like attending the victor's inauguration?
Well, I can tell you the Biden team, even before Election Day, was worried about just that, the idea that he would, first of all, that he would not participate in a peaceful transfer of power and would continue to undermine democratic institutions, but also that he would not participate in a transition plan. So that was something they were planning for. The rest is somewhat speculation from Trump aides guessing what he would do because his headspace is really not in those questions of does he or does he not attend the inauguration when he's kind of doubling down and trying to fight. But there's a sense that on the whole, he probably would not be particularly gracious. Not just that up until inauguration day, but even after. I was talking to someone in Trump world today who said, look, it's Donald Trump. He's not going to go away. You know, I said, well, do you think he would run in 2024? Do you think he would tease that run? And this person said, look, again, it's Donald Trump. Of course he's going to tease the idea that he's going to run in 2024. Now, this person said, do I think that at the age of 78 he would actually run? I don't know, not necessarily, but he plans to be an irritant in the side of Joe Biden if he doesn't win. And you saw in these comments from the president's children today, sort of begging and imploring 2024 Republican hopefuls to get up and defend the president. But embedded in those calls was this idea, which is true, that the president and the Trump family are going to be big players in Republican politics and thus national politics, even if he is out of office.
Alexi, indeed, what Ashley just said, Don Jr. was on Twitter almost taking attendance and noting the timestamps of Republicans that he asked, come out, where are you? We need the Army to speak up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I don't think anyone expects President Trump to go away from public life anytime soon if he doesn't win re-election. And even before he ran for public office, he was kind of this armchair political analyst of sorts, always tweeting critical things of former President Barack Obama and weighing in on different things, whether it was politics of the Republican Party or what Barack Obama and Democrats were doing. And we know that President Trump likes to have the attention all on him and likes to share his message with people. So it's very likely that he could be doing a number of things in a number of different roles that he's been able to do now. I think about the fact that it could be likely that he could be hosting something like Fox and Friends or calling friends for an hour or 2 hours, because he would be able to do that, and because he loves not just weighing in on what's going on, but to Ashley's point, kind of trying to play this kingmaker. We saw him do that in the 2018 midterms with Republicans, really going out to get involved in these inter-party fights and put his thumb on the scale for certain Republicans over others, and he was pretty successful in that. And that gives him power and shows him that what he says goes with the Republican base, and that is not going to disappear. The thing we need to look at is the popular vote so far. 70 million people have voted for Donald Trump, and that suggests that those people like Trumpism, they like the Trump brand, and even without Trump as president, they will still continue to like that.
Very grateful that these two women are starting us off tonight, knowing something about the hours we're all working. Ashley Parker, Alexi McCann, much obliged. Coming up for us as we approach our first break, the road to 270 appears to be paved with lawsuits, at least for now. But will any of them matter in the end as the actual votes cast by Americans get counted in places like Philadelphia, Maricopa County, Arizona? As our special coverage of the 2020 presidential election continues on this consequential Thursday night.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital was founded over 50 years ago with the dream of curing childhood cancer. Our mission brings people together as partners in hope to help save thousands of lives.
I'm at St. Jude because I have a dream to learn college and I live best. The hardest part of cancer is knowing that you have it. Before I came to St. Jude, I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I couldn't move.
Families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because all the families should worry about is helping their child live.
Good things happen. St. Jude is really in the current of cancer life.
St. Jude helps me have hope. Hope is amazing. It makes me feel strong inside and makes me feel.
No child should have to deal with cancer. We have to find a cure.
1 in 5 children diagnosed with cancer in the U.S. will not survive. $1 vows to save. To become a partner in hope for only $19 a month. When you call or online at 4stjude.org with your credit or debit card right now, we'll send you this St. Jude t-shirt you can wear to show your support.
Every day, survival rates are going up, but until every day becomes every child. Oh, stop dying.
You won't stop until no child dies of cancer. Please call or go online at 4stjude.org. Become a partner in hope today.
Behind the front door of the leisure care community, there's something you would expect. Behind every exciting experience, there's a team of passionate expert seniors with an upgrading to the fullest. And behind our sparkling spaces, there's an unsurpassable confidence that keeps everyone at ease. Because behind each leisure care there's more than 50 years of experience that can send our seniors thrive. Washington Lakes, a leisure care community. This November, see the creepy seatbelt. Float on by Tuesdays and
He's okay. Shh. He's okay. He was just coming to look.
What if you could cook amazing food with very little effort every night? Brava simplifies cooking so that you can make time for the things that matter most. Visit brava.com for more.
The numbers tonight in the state of Nevada, a lot of counting going up, a lot of vote, only 14,438 votes separating the two. Joe Biden with a marginal lead in Nevada could end up being an important state before we're done here. For more on the situation there, we're joined once again by NBC News correspondent Joe Lynn Kent in Las Vegas. Joe, first off, another lawsuit I understand has been filed. What are these all alleging? We know what they're trying to stop.
Yes, in fact, they're asking for an injunction to stop the count here in Clark County because they believe there have been fraudulent votes cast, Brian, and specifically talking about one particular voter, Jill Stokey, who said that she went to cast her ballot in person and was not allowed to do so because her mail-in ballot had already been sent in. We put these allegations to the Clark County Registrar today. I asked them what their response was. Have they received any evidence on this front as of this afternoon? And they said no, they haven't. Joe Gloria told me that they have not received evidence or seen any evidence of improper counting or improper voting in terms of what's happening here in Clark County. Now, this also comes as the Nevada Republican Party's lawyers have submitted a letter
to Attorney General Bill Barr and the DOJ, saying that over 3,000 people have cast their votes improperly from out of state. Now, of course, to commit this alleged voter fraud, the voters, of course, as Pete Williams would have to have the intent of committing voter fraud. But that's the situation here in Clark County as they prepare to drop another 51,000 votes tomorrow that could end up deciding where this state and its key 6 electoral votes go. And so this morning we were waiting for more. Nevada Secretary of State is saying that 90% of the outstanding votes here in Nevada are in Clark County, right here in Las Vegas. They're a friend of John Ralston, a friend of MSNBC, a longtime dean of the place, and this is a state where the voting has stopped for the night, while in other places it continues to go on. So we will be waiting tomorrow morning at noon Eastern, 9 o'clock local here, to get that batch of votes and see where it leans. Now, historically, these mail-in votes have leaned Democratic, leaned toward the Democrats, but we also know here in Las Vegas there has been a huge hit to the economy. The unemployment rate here is higher than the national average. We have jobless claims out yet again today. The state hurting yet again. So that has hurt the Democratic governor here and may have an impact on Biden. You will have to wait to see till tomorrow morning, Brian.
It has been cruel, the economy in Las Vegas. You're absolutely right, Joe. Thank you very much. Again, the difference there of 11,438 voters, still too close to call. Back with us tonight is Jeremy Bash, former chief of staff at CIA, Pentagon, former chief counsel to House Intel, but notably as a young Harvard-educated lawyer, he started his legal career as law lawyers on the Florida recount way back in the year 2000. Jeremy, I presume you've looked at what the marketplace is offering you concerning all of these various legal challenges and lawsuits. Do any have more merit than any others?
Some have been done and some just left town. And Brian, to that point, when we just heard from Jolene out in Nevada, of course, the Trump campaign is going in and saying, stop the counts. Joe Biden is dead. So if Donald Trump gets his way or his lawyers get their way, Biden's victory will be locked in. And I think it comes up to the law dilemma for the president here with these lawsuits is that there's no overarching legal theory. There's no theory of the case about what fraud he's trying to stop. In Pennsylvania, the big legal victory he got was moving his poll watchers from 10 feet to 6 feet near the ballots. But he was totally rejected in the effort to stop both counts. And of course, you can't have a recount unless you first have a count. And the votes have been counted in Pennsylvania and Georgia. And of course, with Brian's perspective, the effort to recount in Wisconsin, there's no way that running those ballots through the machines is going to help Donald Trump get 20,000 votes. I think there was a recount in Wisconsin in 2016. Both Trump and Hillary Clinton got a couple of hundred votes out of that. That recount was paid for by Jill Stein, by the way, the independent candidate. And Donald Trump has down by 20,000 votes. There's no way you can make that up.
Jeremy, I want to play an exchange that took place on Sean Hannity tonight with the newly reelected Lindsey Graham. There's kind of generic talk of corruption around the vote, especially in big blue cities like Philadelphia. There's talk of invalidating somehow the result if PA in fact goes for Joe Biden, changing the electors. We'll play this. I'll ask you about on the other side.
Should these Republican lawmakers in Pennsylvania and elsewhere, if there's corruption in the law, if they don't abide by the law and they don't allow observers in as the law calls for, should they then invalidate this?
I think everything should be on the table. So there's the process of observing an election that's been validated. And if the election is the same.
So, Jeremy, you can tell the tenor of the conversation. A lot of these counts are going on with webcams right above them. We can watch it from the comfort of our homes. What is this talk of potentially changing electors in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, let's unpack this, Brian. So, under the Constitution, it says that state legislatures can decide how by election day, and they vote for the electors. Now, what Lindsey Graham is saying is maybe the state legislature in a place like Pennsylvania could substitute their own state of electors. But the problem with that is that there's a statute on the books, 3 U.S.C. 1, that says that the method for appointing electors has to be designated by election day. You can't change the rules after election day. So, in short, Lindsey Graham's proposal would be radical, extreme, anti-democracy, and it would violate state law, because the Pennsylvania state law has already said you do a popular vote, it would violate federal law, which says you can't make the change after election day, and it would violate the Constitution. Other than that, Brian, is a great idea.
It'll be interesting to see if even in that case, Republican voices rise up in Congress. Jeremy Bash, thank you for being with us tonight in the middle of a legal fight and counting of the votes Americans cast. More of our special coverage right after this.
The expertise that helps keep hospitals clean is helping keep businesses clean too. Look for the Ecolab Science Certified seal.
Do you have a dark garage that needs more light, or one lonely bulb up in your attic, or down in the basement that's not so bright? Finding your way is always a fight. Introducing Tri-Burst from Bell & Howell, an LED triple panel socket light that's crazy bright. It'll transform any area from dim to ultra bright, and that's all because of its 144 high-intensity LED bulbs. Tri-Burst quickly screws into a standard light socket. Light anywhere you need it. This garage is using a 60-watt light bulb. Now look at the same garage with Tri-Burst. It's a night and day difference. Now your garage will always be brightly lit when you get home. Just switch it on for a bright white light anywhere. Your closet can go from dark to beautifully bright. Even light up that shed in the dark of night. And it's the best way to get around your attic without a flashlight. The secret is not one, not two, but 3 LED panels with 144 bulbs that angle in any direction to deliver natural white, ultra bright light where you need it most. A standard bulb can barely light this basement. It registers just 265 lumens. Watch, simply screw in Tri-Burst for a few 1,000 lumens of light. Now that is crazy bright. Plus, the LED bulbs last 50,000 hours and cost less to run than this 60-watt light. It's perfect for garages, basements, patios, attics, and more. Other lights this bright can cost up to $200. But you won't pay that. If you want crazy bright light, get Tri-Burst from Bell & Howell today for just $29.99. And it comes with Bell & Howell's huge 5-year warranty. So why strain to see every night? Order Tri-Burst now so everything is crazy bright. To order, call 1-800-737-4038. That's 1-800-737-4038 or go to Triburst.com. So call 1-800-737-4038 or order online at Triburst.com.
Hey everyone, for the baby room. Back by strongest warranty in the business, take my roofing exercise.
It's been a long year. This pandemic is hard. You may feel overwhelmed, burned out, and ready for a break. And it's tempting to bend the rules because we feel healthy, or family, or outside, or a million other reasons. COVID-19 loves excuses. Keep masking up. Keep spreading out. Keep groups small. Not forever, but for now. It's time to remind the world that 150 still exists. Infinite collaborators at Nix.com.
Meet Glowforge, the 3D laser printer. It's your new business, your favorite craft, your family's portal to the future. You can create with wood, fabric, cardboard, whatever's laying around the house. Personalize things for yourself or give your creations to others. With Glowforge, you can do it all in minutes. This is Glowforge. and it can be yours. See more at growthworks.com.
We have for you a graphic of the uncalled races, the battleground states we have yet to call mostly, and look at the how the differences in vote are quite different. No two of these races, of course, are the same. The outlier being Alaska with a margin of over 50,000, Donald Trump in the lead. But of course, so much time and attention on the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That's where our senior national correspondent, Chris Jansing, has been covering all night from the state capitol in Harrisburg. So, Chris, I hope they understand no pressure. It's not like the odds of the nation are upon them. Okay, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to pick up a little bit, if I can, Brian, on what you were just talking to Jeremy Dash about. And that is that Lindsey Graham, when he was on Sean Hannity, was kind of raising the specter of the possibility that the GOP legislature, that they control the House here, could appoint its own slate of electors and essentially hand it to Donald Trump. Now, we heard, what Jeremy had to say about the Constitution, et cetera. Having said that, the Democrats are taking it seriously, I'm told. Literally, while you were talking to Jeremy, I was on the phone with two electeds here. They tell me the Democratic lawyers from Washington are going to come here tomorrow in Harrisburg and meet with the state minority leader, the Democratic minority leader of the legislature. This really comports with everything that I have been hearing from folks here in Pennsylvania, Democrats up and down the line, from the beginning of when I came here. And I asked them about the whole concept of the flood of lawyers that the Trump campaign put up here. And I kept getting this sort of pushback saying, we have enough lawyers to deal with whatever they throw at us. And believe me, we understand that it's possible and we are preparing for it. So this is out of an abundance of caution. The way it was sort of framed to me was that if for some reason the other states that are close for Joe Biden do not come through and it becomes Pennsylvania or nothing in particular, they want to make sure that they are ahead of the game. Again, this is a lot of things that would have to fall into line for them to be thinking that this is actually going to happen. But Brian, lawyers are coming tomorrow, meet with the minority leader here to talk about exactly the discussion that you were having with Jeremy Dash.
Yeah, I know at least Pennsylvania Democrats have been wary of this and girding for this very possibility. Chris Jansing, thank you for hanging out with us tonight after the day we have all had. Let's bring in our political professionals. James Carville is back with us, Democratic strategist, with the Clinton campaign, these days co-host of the 2020 Politics War Room podcast, and Mike Murphy, veteran Republican strategist, strategic advisor to Republican voters against Trump, which we can officially call a work in progress. Hey, James, I'm going to start with you. Where do you see things right now tonight, and how worried are you about the foreseeable near future of our republic and the presidency itself?
Well, I mean, I'm worried about the Republicans. Of course I am. I'm zero worried that Joe Biden is not going to win this election. I mean, I know the votes were there out in Pennsylvania, and he's going to win by pretty decisive margin when it's all over. He will go ahead in Georgia tomorrow. He will be the leader when they finish canvassing the ballots. It may be a recount, but he's definitely going to go ahead there. And everybody
I love David Carville.
You have a lot of stuff.
He definitely don't go ahead there. I don't know. I couldn't do it, but I couldn't. There you go. I can listen to him on talk radio and shit. Yeah. I think more than about 30 minutes an hour. All right, man, you have to shut up for a while. Hey, you know what's crazy? Is his wife's hardcore. Like, super witch hardcore.
The President of the United States was saying in the briefing room, it was also noted Kelly McEnany put out a reminder he had printed.
And she's like a normal looking human, and he's looks like he's from like Jupiter or somewhere.
What he was going to say. Where do you put that moment in the modern history of the presidency?
I would say he has alien.
No, about as low as you can go. I mean, as all presidents have had a couple of yes men around, but he's got these yes dregs who will just serve as worst impulses. It's a shame on them. And I'm planning, a lot of us in the reform wing of the Republican Party would like to have, like the Home Improvement Commission at 10 minutes, some show trials for these staff who made it worse.
Man, they seriously have lumps of coal.
Of his own grievance.
Dog trees.
Everything is you can see that right now, the Philadelphia is going to give them some anti-brotherly love here in the next 12 hours. And it's really, really dim. So he's coming to grips with that, and he's lashing out at our democracy.
Oh, I wonder if I could do that. It's making me a little elf out there.
And understand that. So, it's kind of pathetic more than anything else, but it's a huge insult to our democracy. We need to count the votes and give it that room and move on.
Mike, is it Joe Biden at 270 as
Give him a over.
hours perhaps? Are you looking for any Republican voices? Are you looking for anyone to pop their head up and be what?
Had a talk with John Higley yesterday, and
perhaps
he's been about T-Mobile. Find out how the interview went.
Yeah, I believe so. I think the best jury's film for some of these characters is the fact that Trump is going to lose. In fact, ironically, it might even, depending on what happens up in Alaska, it might even get to 36 electoral votes for Joe Biden should Arizona and Nevada's done if Arizona sticks and both Georgia and Pennsylvania hold up. And then ironically, the president's very favorite bragging point would be tied by Joe Biden or absolutely slaughter him. So once he's in the rearview mirror, you saw hints of it already. I think even Trump supporters were offended by it. I think the party will move on fairly quickly.
Yeah. We spent in the tens of millions of dollars for nothing. For office space we will never, ever use. We built a dog park on the roof of a building that none of us will ever use.
Any Democrat did not expect to have a sizable majority in the U.S. Senate by the next morning. And I think a lot of Democrats were really surprised to be down to so many members of the majority in the House. What did you learn?
Well, what I learned was the 2018 strategy was a really brilliant strategy. And I think we got taken out of that a little bit. I think we got, consumed by Trump. I think the police stuff did not help at all. The kind of talk that
Not help at all.
Socialism and Joe Biden will be very clear. Now, Senate candidates did not embrace that. If you look at Miami-Dade, if you look at the Red Valley, if you look at some other places,
Come on, y'all.
I think this party did very well blocking and tackling in 2018. In Florida, the minimum wage passed by 60%. So, with 2022, and I think that I hope that President Biden is going to focus that, and I think that the House Democrats learn that we need to go back to our 2018 strategy and execute it relentlessly. So that's what I think that we learned here. And we got the Republicans recruited a lot of women candidates. And we'll come back in 2022. But we're not out of this at all yet. We're going to have a runoff, and we're going to have 2 Georgia Senate seats up, and we might even get an Alaska seat. So before we tell you the thing, let's be sure it's dead. And as long as it's got a chance to survive and kicking with it, I hope we spend a lot of time.
And as we've been saying, it looks like the Republicans have a one-woman QAnon caucus in the House, so they got that going for them. James Harbaugh and Murphy will do this again. Hang in there, both of you gentlemen. Special coverage of this unending 2020 presidential election continues right after this.
Introducing Gel, the first full prescription strength.
I wonder if that would help with our neck.
Gel available over the counter. Voltaren is powerful arthritis pain relief in a gel. Voltaren.
Ain't that what you used to get the?
Yeah, but it's more for cartilage. Like it says, approved to treat arthritis.
You gonna get your ass in here? Or it's just sitting there staring at me.
It would help with like tendonitis, shit like that. Muscly.
Animals are abused every day, and they can't ask for help. They endure indescribable acts of violence, but they're without a voice. Without a voice to say they're frightened and in pain. They're alone.
You know, these commercials always piss me off because what about all
Yeah,
the
but the
fucking
ASPCA
homeless people that?
Well, the ASPCA bill piece of shit ain't. They don't have homeless dogs for money. How do you think they buy this airtime? They buy commercials with this money.
Visit us at
I know this. Smell the dog, find your local rescue and help them.
Sign up for just 63 cents a day. We'll help rescue animals.
Yeah, he's pissing me off.
I won't stand up while they sign.
He has not
You
moved.
sign up with your monthly gift.
Stop, take it away.
Do it the next 10 minutes, and we'll send you the photo of an
What are you doing?
a free ASPCA t-shirt.
Excuse me.
If you wondered if your support will make a difference, I can tell you.
Val, you want cookie?
And if you've ever thought about helping, this is the time.
Come here, Val.
It's only 63 cents. Please don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, you never come to get them. And you always forget I have.
He needed his insurance to get it done right.
I'm gonna eat one today.
USAA. What you're made of?
Fuck you too, Odin. No. More effective, Valkyrie. Hey!
Engaging the entire core. Then it's a back extension, super rock, lower back traction stretch. Take the pressure off your spine, stretch muscles. Like the ultimate total body exercise. Build your upper body with push-ups. Work your lower body with Aero Squat. Aero Trainer is tested to support over 500 pounds. It inflates and deflates in less than 30 seconds using the electric pump. Head to aerotrainer.com.
Nope. Just off. Check inside.
Get off the floor and get off AeroTrainer. Go to aerotrainer.com. That's AERO trainer.com. Experience Boost has helped millions of people. How can it help you?
I just boosted 15 points with Experience Boost. This is incredible.
Boost your credit scores instant for free. Only at Experian.com/boost.
We're back and check out a tight race.
Sure sounded an awful lot like the opening music to Jeopardy there, and I was like, well, fuck yeah, fuck elections, let's watch Jeopardy then. That's how we should decide elections from now on. Make the candidates play fucking Jeopardy. And not no punk ass kids Jeopardy neither. I want to throw at them like Tournament of Super Champion fucking. You can't win fucking Jeopardy questions.
This is all a good thing. The other thing is people.
It should be about law and stuff like that. The Constitution and the history of our country and what you can and can't do.
And sneak in several questions straight off the citizenship test.
Well, they should have this pass access.
I think it should be required for high school equivalent to your diploma. If you cannot pass the test that's required of new admissions to our country, you need to go back and take that class. It's not lawful to function as an adult without understanding the rules of functioning as an adult.
And now the results that are set tomorrow morning. 75,000 more votes to be announced tomorrow morning here. I say that because tomorrow's ballot will include those mail-in ballots that folks, instead of mailing it,
They're expecting more votes about to come in from Clayton County, Georgia. It's out by 5. It's out in the blackest neighborhood.
Let's go to Pennsylvania. That's where we're
This will probably flip Georgia.
outstanding mail votes that are coming in. They are coming in at a rate of about 75% in favor of Joe Biden. He doesn't need them to come in at 75%. Two-thirds to Biden, given the number of outstanding votes that are there. It will be at the rate we're going probably a number of hours before this statewide advantage that Donald Trump has, 23,000, breaks down to 1,000 more lower than that. That's the direction things are going in. The numbers that are coming in from Allegheny, which is Pittsburgh, from Philadelphia County, and these counties around here are the ones we have to look at here. We're in Delaware County, just south of Philadelphia, 91% are in. Rocky had a lead of 81,000 votes, bringing 62.6 to 36.5. 24 hours ago, we were looking at County, which north of Philadelphia. That actually had Trump in the lead. This is the county that brings the line anyway. 95% in Biden's in the lead there. So I think we're in the story here for the next few hours. It's going to be mostly Pennsylvania and a little bit of Georgia. Thank you for that late live look at the numbers.
wrong with them now?
You can join the battle to save lives by supporting St. Jude Children's Research. Families never receive a bill from St. Jude for treatment. Because all a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Do you think they'd be interested if I put either of those little balls down there for me? What are you on about? Your little heart's just racing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here you go. Yeah. Oh, that's so good, don't it? Oh, them pets are so good. Oh, them squeezies. Oh, they make you smile. Oh, my goodness. Ah, ah.
There's one that they were all on this one. Poor Orange. And what's the white one doing to her?
Wake up, lady, wake up.
Oh, excuse me. You are so tiny. Am I in your way? Hey, Valkyrie. Valkyrie. What does a gray wolf do? Valkyrie. What does a gray wolf do? It's good. Good job. Good job. Look, we called them. Good job. Valkyrie. What does a gray wolf do? Valkyrie. What does a gray wolf do? That's enough. Look. Go. Hey, would you feed them? Go feed the
He looks like he just died. He looks like an old man that just died. Boy, boy,
Well, and that's he was like lifting his head and trying to make it
Out of your shit. Hey, who is this? Hey, why don't you go feed him? Go feed him. He's in there hollering. Why don't you go feed him?
Get off of it. I don't know why you have to lay on it before I put it in there. Get off of it. Valkyrie used to do that when she was a puppy.
Hey Google, unmute the sound bar. Hey Google, unmute the sound bar.
I also need to know which device to use. Try saying that again and include the device's name.
Unmute, hey Google, unmute the living room sound bar.
There's not a single county in Pennsylvania where
The only device with sound bar even in his name. Well, I guess maybe. We take Mom. On the place right now.
From Joe Biden taking the lead. And as I say, there is no reason to think that if Joe Biden gets the lead in Pennsylvania, there's no reason to think he's looking back.
Odin.
That was so helpful. I always do duty when we're talking about this new we're talking about this in this bizarre, temporal way. All these votes were the votes in the election. These were the first ones that were cast, right? This batch of votes and the votes that people were mailing, probably some of the most enthusiastic Biden voters, frankly, partly why we're seeing these sort of numbers. They're getting counted last because of election law in Pennsylvania, but these are not votes that came in late anyway. They were probably sitting there. Some of them might have been sitting there for weeks.
First cast, last counted. Some of these counties that are reporting out didn't even open a single mail. They might have gotten it 3 weeks early. They didn't open these counties until 8 a.m. the day after the election. So that again is like two things are happening here. All the mail is being reported pretty much after election day, but also the whole issue of do I vote by mail or not from the voters' standpoint.
Where's that dude from? It totally sounded like he said mayo, not mail.
So we started polling in September and October. We asked voters in Pennsylvania, do you plan to vote by mail? The ones who said yes were like 79 to 17 supporting Biden.
Somewhere in New England there.
Great point. All right, Steve, I'm going to let you get a drink of water and put some more numbers in your brain. And then we're going to go back to talk to you about Georgia. But first, I want to go to the MSNBC correspondent Randall Palace, who in Philadelphia and has been doing great reporting for us there. You were outside where they're doing that voting counting, and it's sounding like they're brewing coffee and they're going to keep going. Is that right?
They have been brewing coffee since.
Yeah, I brew coffee shit. They got a tanker truck full of coffee shit. I can't decide. I mean, I'm definitely giving it to Omaha for keeping it from being a tie, but I don't know who I'd rather have be the state that gives it to. Harry wants Georgia because it looks like it could possibly be Gwinnett County that sees the one, and I'd be like, what, Gwinnett? It's great, Gwinnett. Part of me wants it to be Philadelphia because that's just
to count out of Philadelphia. And
Ages get every single one.
10,000 to 13,000 per hour. He's better at the math than I am, but the point is making.
And people ain't talking about North Carolina, because North Carolina already said, we ain't finalizing our shit till next Tuesday, so you'll hear from us then.
In fact, the Secretary of State said, in the evening, on Thursday,
It's all right.
on Thursday, a few hours ago, she said that
I never know what day it is.
they will be able to.
I didn't wake up all week and just think something.
Man, every day I gotta think what day it is.
I wake up all week just thinking, oh, man, I don't want to go deal with this shit again today. God damn it. And I'm like, oh no, it's Saturday. It's cool. Sundays I usually got it. I'm usually mainly because of football. I wake up and I'm like, okay, it's game day. Early game.
These mail-in ballots, they have an extension on this from the voting day up until Friday, which we're going into now. And they call it segregated any ballots that were officially postmarked as of the end of voting on Tuesday, up until the last counting of the ballots came in from the post office Friday. They're gonna put them aside.
I can't wait to watch the Republican 2024 primary.
So, as we're coming close.
Or for that matter, the Democrat 2024 primary.
Might find that some of this will be.
It's gonna be.
Because that would be Harris versus AOC.
If that does happen from the Trump campaign.
And on the Republicans, it'll be
I think this is right.
Mitt Romney versus Donald Trump.
About those 59,000, that's all the stuff that
You think Trump will run?
Oh, you're goddamn right. If he ain't in prison, he's gonna run again.
no legal challenge, no nothing.
If he ain't in prison or has active warrants.
There's another pool that they have segregated.
Unless he is otherwise disqualified
Pennsylvania state law as interpreted by the Pennsylvania
by the
Supreme
legal
Court
system.
and not overruled
He'll
by
have
the United States Supreme Court. Valid votes will be counted and segregated out of an abundance of caution should there be.
Or his dumbass kid.
That category of ballots is not entering the equation now.
No, I'm not gonna say that. Everything that's coming in, these are part of the ballots that are being counted. They're being put aside. Only they're counting them, but they're counting them.
Ah, Jeb Bush.
They don't want later to say, oh my gosh, where are all those ballots? They wanna know exactly where they are, and they do know. They say the remaining mail ballots that they have, that's that 59,000 that they're talking about, are all the ballots that have been turned in to the election commission.
Thank you, that was very clarifying. I really knew you do such amazing work for us. Thank you so much.
You know, I think Jeb Bush was honestly.
Georgia, and before we do that, let's just, you don't have to pull up the electoral map scenario, but I just.
I mean, clearly he was offended, but I think that it went to like a level that he was astounded that Trump would act that way and that it would be acceptable.
Georgia and Arizona are not necessary to that specific path.
And I mean, I would have bitched all the way through a Jeb Bush presidency that I think he would have handled coronavirus.
Oh, yeah.
Like a normal person would have. You know, he doesn't come from idiot stock. His parents were smart people. His siblings were smart people.
You gotta go to the 100 decimal place because we don't display here. That's Chris Trump would actually look at when you do it by percentage. So 1,805. I'll tell you, the biggest thing we're kind of waiting on right here is Clayton County.
There's not many of the people that ran in 2016 could have done.
85% of the vote here right now. They are still sitting on several thousand absentee ballots yet to be reported out. There's been talk that will happen sometime tonight.
I wonder how, like, Mitt Romney would have been.
I'm suspect
Well, that's why I say that. I can't think of anybody else that is profoundly religious.
But I tell you what, Mitt Romney wouldn't do, wouldn't get rid of Obamacare, because Obamacare was modeled after Romneycare.
Yeah.
Hey,
So what has Biden promised us?
That was the problem in this whole election. There was no issue. They couldn't discuss issues. One of the parties doesn't understand. Would you move your goddamn head? I mean, I know they work with the governors and it's to national mass mandate.
I want to know, like, what are they going to do about student loans?
Overseas military ballots. Now, they have already counted thousands of overseas.
I didn't like Kamala.
Putting the absentee ballot pool as they've been reported out now. They are part of this.
Stevens, back when she was running.
Overseas military, they could be received after election day. So theoretically, we're at a theoretical level here. There are 8,800 unreturned military overseas ballots. Did they open the mail in Georgia anymore? There's 8,800 returned overseas military ballots. Theoretically, there could be, in practical terms, though, there's likely to be very few. It likely just means folks decided not to vote even though they had the ballot. But nonetheless, that is something I think if you're looking for a call in Georgia, that is something that the possibility there are outstanding ballots can play into that as well. So there are a couple of pieces to this right now. It looks likely to land, whichever side of this it lands on, within that 0.5%. And as you say, for Democrats right now, I think they are potentially at least eyeing Georgia more as icing on the cake.
Yeah, totally.
They think the cake is Pennsylvania. They think definitely Joe Biden is going to take the lead there. Then they'd love to have Georgia on top of that. That's probably where their minds are right now. For Trump, he needs this. He needs everything pretty much.
Yeah, great point.
He does. Trump can't lose another state.
Where Georgia ends up almost certainly automatically.
Well, I guess technically he could lose.
In terms of the characterization where Pennsylvania might end up, we don't know. It's not currently on a trajectory toward this real narrow. I mean, you're looking at, when you said before, 1 decimal place, tied 1 decimal place. Right now, Pennsylvania looks like with the outstanding goes the way they're going, it is not headed towards the same direction. Again, we can't say. But Georgia is going to be close either way within a 3,000 votes.
Right, no, that's right. I mean, at the current rate in Pennsylvania, I'm just seeing if there's any updated votes. Biden winning 76%, basically 3/4 at this rate. These absentees that come in, he's winning them. So that was, if you look back to 2016, the margin for Donald Trump in Pennsylvania was, I think, about 47,000 votes, 47,000 votes. Trump's statewide margin. Could Joe Biden pass Trump and get somewhere into that neighborhood? That's not out of the question. All right, Steve Cornett.
So Biden's student loan, whatever, Biden would forgive all undergraduate tuition from 2- and 4-year public colleges and universities. Biden would also forgive all undergraduate tuition for borrowers who earn $125,000 or less per year and who graduate from a private HBCU and minority serving institutions. So if that were the case, all of mine would be.
No, you were just out there. Have your mom deal with you. Damn it.
I think we made a lawsuit audio for Priscilla Thompson there in Atlanta. That was my idea, but it was the audio more broadly, and we're going to come back to that. As you saw, there's heard from Priscilla. So we got a lot of counting that happened in Atlanta. Report tomorrow morning. We're not getting reports through the night from Atlanta. We're not anticipating
through the night in the same way we are anticipating in Pennsylvania. There may actually be some more votes from Clayton County, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not sure about that. We will come back to her. Joining me now, David Clough, former campaign manager, White House senior advisor, President.
Harris and Biden support tuition-free college at 2-year and 4-year public colleges and universities for those who earn up to $125,000 in annual income.
Moving in this direction, and 24 hours later, they have
It
proceeded.
would double the maximum Pell Grant.
Well, you know,
Pell Grant's
if you go to hours, it could be in the morning, but.
Pell Grant used to be enough to pay for a semester.
UNC were talking.
They haven't adjusted that in years.
It was designed to pay for one semester and get anyone who needed it through college. That was the idea.
Maybe 70, 80,000, 100,000. So he'll be in the lead, and I assume the networks will declare him the president-elect. Let's talk about Georgia, by the way. It's going to be fascinating. Is when Biden takes the lead there, and I think he almost certainly will take the lead.
I got Pell Grants. That's how I went to Maple Woods. Until I got pregnant with Haley. And it paid for my tuition, my books, and then I'd have a couple $100 left over that I used to go buy whatever clothes Blake needed. Because I got one in the winter and one in the spring, so it took care of the fall clothes and summer.
I feel better about Biden's prospects there.
And that was also back when you could dress a kid for less than a couple $100.
Right now, I think are leaning much more in Biden's direction. In Pennsylvania, we're just waiting for this to become formal because these trends, and it's very important. Obviously, he's doing very well in Philadelphia, but Erie County, Northampton County, Bucks County, Delaware County, Montgomery County, all these other counties.
And we definitely should, once you are an adult, that's that. Your parents' income shouldn't have shit to do with anything that relates.
Yeah.
So basically, pretty much all the people voting by now were Democrats in Pennsylvania.
It should be a simple.
So clear when you break down the vote counting this way.
There should be.
I think it's very hard for all.
There should be a threshold of some sort that you don't want. Then again, you know what? Rich kids aren't. No. Never mind. I'm thinking about that more now. It doesn't matter how rich or poor you are, you can vote public.
Yeah.
And it should be that way all the way through the back. So, you want to go to public school, you can go to public school. Now, if you want to go to nice fancy school, well, that's on
That's
you.
what Biden says.
And you can go get student loans, and your parent, and we'll evaluate your parents' income and things like that. But if you're just a person,
Yeah.
by virtue of being a person here, you get the benefit of public education.
That's right, Chris. Remember back during the Democratic primary, we talked about the other issue and all.
And I think like Liam and Blake, they get all these piddly scholarship offers. If you're, which I mean, in public schools, if you make them free, it doesn't matter. But if you offer a kid a scholarship, it should, you have to offer them a year's tuition. Like, your $20,000 scholarships would have put my grandparents through college. They just need to redo the whole fucking thing.
The eastern part of the state, northeastern
They should
Pennsylvania.
just expand public education
He's getting real votes. Okay, if you're winning big suburban
from
areas, like 15 to 20 votes,
age 3 to age 22.
All right.
Yeah.
Enlightening so much. Thank you for staying up with us. Thank you at home for not.
No, where are you gonna pay for that? I'm gonna buy a few less drones and a few less jets, not as many tanks. Maybe cancel fucking battleships or something.
As soon as there's any more movement, we are glued to that.
Maybe sell some of the extras we have. Just sitting there doing nothing, and we'll sell those. I'm sure we can find some money around here. We spend on things that we really
I do think this is the end of the Republican Party. Because, like you said, next election we've got AOC and all these women coming up. Maybe the millennials will revolutionize our government. In 4 years from now, surely fucking what's his face will be dead. Not Lindsey Graham, but the turtle dude. Yeah, like how fucking old is he?
I got a feeling it's gonna be more.
Lower back traction stretch. Take the pressure off your spine. Stretch muscles. The ultimate total body exercise. Build your upper body with push-ups. Work your lower body with the Aero Squat. Aero trainers tested to support over 500 pounds. It inflates and deflates in less than 30 seconds using the electric pump. Head to aerotrainer.com. Now it's your turn to lose weight, look great, and be healthy. Get off the floor and get on.
Man, he's 78.
Aerotrainer.com. It's AEROtrainer.com. Can only move for all these years was the ones that got laid at home the most.
Oh my god, he was a judge.
Because you're not like everybody else. That's why
There's probably a lot of people still in prison that
so
don't
you
know
only pay for what you need.
What?
Oh, I said.
Oh, this is my floor.
Only pay for what you need.
His name is Addison Mitchell.
Ooh, Lindsey Graham?
Oh,
Oh, Mitchell. Oh.
Are you sure you made the right decision?
Guys, that's my guaranteed, Bob. Satisfaction guaranteed, Bob. Stand warranty on every city.
And he's worth $22.5 million.
Swing by my place next.
Receive a free furniture.
And he served 37 days in the United States Army.
They can get, probably gonna get 2 or 3 fucking Republicans to vote with them. Like, vote for him. Like, force
It's hard to believe that Brava can go from 0 to 500 degrees in under 1 second. Or that it precisely cooks 3 different ingredients at the same
They
time.
can get Romney, but can they get anything
It's
else?
hard to believe that Brava tells you when you're
But I'm pretty sure Mitt Romney and Mitch McConnell aren't very good.
or that it roasts a whole chicken in half the
No.
time. But seeing is believing. And when you cook with Pure Light, the difference is as clear as day. See for yourself at Brava.com.
State by state and county by county. Try to get a sense of the past here. We have so many important battleground states still outstanding. There's going to be a range of possibilities here until the last of Puppies County. Still continuing to look at a bunch of these states take shape and winners are decided. There is the potential here for more votes.
So this douchebag attended civil rights rallies. He attended the 63 March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. He was there for the I Have a Dream speech. So what the fuck happened to him?
All right, out west, we have 2 states that are still undecided. With Arizona, where Joe Biden's current lead stands at roughly 1,000 votes, and we're expected to get more vote tallies Friday morning. Vaughn Hilliard is in Scottsdale, Arizona, monitoring ballot tally in that state. Vaughn, you've been great on the details of the various political inclinations and slices of the various voter groups that mailed in or walked in their vote at various times, which is essentially what the analysis comes down to at this point. What's the latest, at least, on what's in there for me?
Yeah, good evening, Chris. Okay. One of those buckets, I think the most exciting bucket that we have had
Oh, okay, I'll give you that. So, his medical discharge is like probably actually legit. He was diagnosed with optic something.
That were not mailed, but those that were hand delivered to the polling locations here.
Yeah.
There's about 175,000 of them in all. We're only going to get a fraction of them, but those ballots are going to be able to be an indicator of what we should expect from that next 150,000. And why is this important? Because so far, Donald Trump has maintained the pace of these uncounted ballots dating back to last night at about 59% of the share of those votes. If he is able to maintain that pace, he will catch up or he clicks to Joe Biden. So the big question tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. local, 11 a.m. Eastern, is what does that bet of about 75,000 ballots look like? For a number of reasons, and one of those numbers, for an example, being that Democrats were so fully urging folks in this last week to not mail in their ballots because of concerns about postal service, instead to go in person. So they're hoping that they saw a higher share of Democratic voters as well as Independent voters go that route, and that 59% will actually be a lower number and able to stave off Donald Trump from catching up to Joe Biden.
Very, very well explained. That's what we were looking for in that first 75,000 votes. We would have a decent indication of the way things are going to go. Thank you for that great turnout in that order races. Closer less than 12,000 votes separating candidates, but there's a lot of vote out, particularly from the biggest county, the biggest pool of votes in Clark County. They're making this release of politics quarter of Nevada Independent. He's been following the election around. Megan, when can we expect more vote totals from Nevada? Can you tell us about where they might come?
Yeah, so we're looking right now at about 190,000 outstanding ballots across Nevada. 90% of those are from Clark County, and a lot of those are mail ballots. That's what we're expecting to get tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. County election officials have told us today that they are counting 51,000 ballots. Those are going to be mail ballots, and if it's anything like what we saw today, we saw a very small number of mail ballots, and that's from Clark. Only about 15,000 of those votes wrote 2-1 for Joe Biden. So we're expecting to see some big movement in those numbers that come in tomorrow morning.
Yeah, so I just want to post various categories overlaid them. We're talking about Pennsylvania, you've got areas that are literally less Democratic, more less Republican, and then voting method. And in Pennsylvania, you're seeing the voting method has polarized Democrats do better in mail-in voting. But then when you combine that with areas that themselves are Democratic, you're getting pretty large margins of Philadelphia. What I'm hearing from you is that we think about Clark County, which is a very Democratic county in terms of its performance overall, and mail-in votes in Clark County. But the sample we have thus far show them as quite Democratic votes, the votes that we have, and a big pool of those votes are coming tomorrow.
That's correct. Yeah, you have to think about Nevada's sort of three distinct areas. You have urban Clark County, where Las Vegas is, heavy, Democratic voter registration advantage there. That, like we were mentioning, Chris, coupled with the preference among Democrats for mail-in voting, means that we've seen that big insight there. Washoe County up north, where we know it's a little bit more split. So the votes that came in today means a little bit more for Biden. And rural Nevada, obviously very conservative. Those votes were splitting 2-1 for Trump today.
All right, Megan Messerly, thank you. That was great. Of course, the big story tonight, the numbers coming out of Pennsylvania, which is showing the presidency shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. We have Kornacki standing by ready to jump in. As soon as we get any updates, we're looking for them. Stick around.
Before Voltaren arthritis pain gel, my husband would have been on the sidelines. But not anymore.
An alternative to pills, Voltaren is the first full prescription strength non-steroidal anti-inflammatory gel to target pain directly at the source for powerful arthritis pain relief. Voltaren, joy of movement.
Healthcare, that's hard to imagine. It is accessible, and you actually be able to make an appointment. You can see a doctor however it's most convenient. We wouldn't hurt him. Because it's care for everyone. That's heart and health. Let him go. We're trying to locate a non-elite boy. Our greatest blessing.
My boy doesn't have to answer you. He doesn't have to answer to you.
We're not leaving town. Let him go. We can go there tomorrow.
You work hard for your money. Stretch days for it. Juggle life for it. To charge for it. So care for it. Look after it. Invest with the expertise of Chase Morgan, either in person or online through Chase. After all, it's yours. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Great Big Tree Spree. Celebrate the holidays your way with up to 60% off all holiday treats. Enjoy Black Friday prices now through November 14th. Shop low prices with curbside or same-day delivery. Michael's.
Experience Boost has helped millions of people. How can it help you?
Whoa! 46 points. I just boosted 15 points with Experian Boost. This is incredible.
Boost your credit scores instantly. Free. Only at Experian.com/boost.
You are busy, working, parenting, problem solving. At New Chapter Vitamins, we've been busy too, innovating, sourcing organic ingredients, testing them, and fermenting. Fermenting? Yeah, like kombucha or yogurt. And we formulate everything so your body can really, truly absorb the natural goodness. That's what we do. So you can do you. New Chapter. Wellness well done.
Our trust has been broken in our leaders, in our institutions, even with some of our friends. And we are hurting. Now more than ever, we need each other to listen, to love one another, to rebuild those bonds. Because trust shows that we believe in the good in each other. It's what makes us human. And when we trust one another, that is when we can truly achieve great things.
We have come to the end of the long. You want to see these folks at the post office? They have businesses to grow, customers to care for, lives to get home to. They use stamps.com. Print discounted postage for any letter, any package, anytime. Right from your computer. Get the services of the post office, plus UPS at up to 62% off. Get our special TV offer, a 4-week trial, plus postage and a digital scale. Go to stamps.com/save and never go to the post office again.
The president, his advisors, and his campaign altogether are clearly split as it becomes clear their paths to victory are vanishing. Today, the former acting director of National Intelligence, Rick Grenell, after baselessly alleging all kinds of voter fraud in Las Vegas press conference, literally ran away from MSNBC reporter Jacob Sobel.
Can you talk about the evidence? You're claiming thousands of illegitimate votes here in Nevada. Yes, you should go in and ask the question.
Trump campaign has no evidence, so this arguments and lies this afternoon. The president's finally emerged today in the White House East Room to deliver more of the same nonsense. And here's how that looked on MSNBC.
If you count the illegal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us. If you count the votes that came in late, we're looking at them very strongly. But a lot of votes came in late. I've already decisively won many critical states, including massive victories in Florida, Iowa, Indiana, and Ohio.
Okay, here we are again in the unusual position of not only interrupting the President of the United States, but correcting the President of the United States.
Olivia Nunzi is, so what is the mood like in the White House right now? Joining me, Olivia Nunzi, Washington, of course, New York Magazine.
Why are they doing that?
Do they understand the map in the White House?
Yeah, I don't know. They should have been that way all along. As soon as they started doing some bullshit, it's like, okay, well, we're done with you. Bye.
And was ready to fight and help them to path forward. But doing that, we saw he tweeted stop it count. This person who spoke to the president told me that they had to explain to him that stopping count because he is down right now and stopping the count right through would mean that he automatically loses. And they had a back and forth about what he actually meant and whether or not people really wanted to stop the count. And this person had to explain that they did in fact want to stop the count. So things are going pretty much from the president was in this White House, which is the president saying things that are not true and he doesn't understand. He's facing consequences for that, and he's looking for people to blame. And he's really been doing this for weeks and weeks. But he's just out there doing it, I guess, a little bit more openly right now. But it's kind of remarkable how much things really are staying in for weeks and weeks as it gradually goes on. President that he probably was
Yeah, the stop the count thing is interesting. If we stop all counting right now, the president would lose because he is losing Nevada, he is losing Arizona, and those combined with Wisconsin, Michigan, and that Omaha, Nebraska congressional seat elector would make Joe Biden president. So he can't, they have to keep counting. He wants them to count the states that he could come back in and stop counting the ones he was ahead and throw out ballots he doesn't like. I mean, one thing that a lot of people have been texting me and talking to me about, like, well, can they do it in the Supreme Court? And, it seems to me that you can't litigate your way out of a 50,000 vote margin. You can't litigate your way out of an 80,000 vote margin. You might be able to litigate your way out of a 1,200 vote margin in a state. But do they understand that? I mean, that's the reality. At a certain point, I started hearing people today talk about, well, the state legislator Republican left, should do a different slate of electors, which to me indicates they understand they're opposed.
Right. I mean, Trump's advisor who spoke to the president this morning, they were talking about how a couple of weeks ago the campaign started to talk about getting legal tweets replaced in case they needed to file any lawsuits. We saw the New York Times reported yesterday, Annie Carney and Maggie Haberman, that Jared Kushner said they were looking for their James Baker, and what they ended up with was like Pam Bondi, Corey Lewandowski, and Rudy Giuliani, not exactly sending their best. So you would think that they would have had a legal team in place to handle this stuff, but not only are they perhaps unaware of anyone waiting in the wings to help them file or carry through any of these lawsuits.
Final question here is what comes next? I mean, I guess you don't know the answer to that. None of us do. One thing that's been clear to me in the way that Republican establishment figures and the institutional GOP has acted is I think they know or suspect he's going to lose. And I think it's interesting that he ran behind states, Senate candidates in states, he ran behind House candidates in House districts. There is a good case to be made that Donald Trump was an anchor on the ticket, that he was. Well, if you look at Michigan, the Senate candidate, John James, did better than Donald Trump, and that was replicated a lot of places. And I got to imagine other Republicans look at that and think, maybe we don't actually need this guy as much as we might have thought.
Right. Well, I think you see that tension kind of playing out where you have Lindsey Graham. At first I thought inexplicably coming out and saying he's going to donate $500,000 to the president's defense fund today. The Trump campaign obviously has been fundraising nonstop for the last 48 hours on this. And then you have other Republicans who have been silent. I guess it's this question of how much is the president's base going to remain energized and obsessed with him the way that they are now going forward. And it's keeping the reliable Republican voters without require being nice to Trump and doing Donald Trump's bidding going forward, even if he's out of power. Or can we kind of just
pretend that the Trump thing never happened and move on and act like basically it's 2014 again and move on from there and have, Nikki Haley or Christina or someone like that take the lead of the party. And I think that the answer to that question is probably not going to be, it's not going to really be clear to us for probably a number of months.
All right, Olivia Nancy, thank you so much for that. Joining me now is Maria Urbina. She's the National Political Director, Chief of Staff, and Individual Director of Grassroots Movement, also former Senior Advisor to Senator Harry Reid, knows the state of Nevada well, and Dave Wasserman, House Editor of the Cook Political Report. Dave, I want to talk about one of the most fascinating things we see emerging is this difference between the president's performance and other Republicans' performance. I mean, the Republican Party that was not Donald Trump had a pretty good night. House candidates had a very good night. Senate candidates had a pretty decent night given the field. And Donald Trump is going to lose the national popular vote by probably 5 million votes. How do you understand those different results?
Well, first of all, he's going to lose the popular vote by more than 5 million. We're looking at potentially a popular vote margin when all is said and done between 4 and 5 points, which is a lot better for Biden than it looked initially on election night. Look, I disagree with your earlier observation that Trump might have been an anchor for down ballot Republicans. In fact, if there was a blind spot that we analysts had looking at the down ballot,
Blank you should look at, and then you should figure out how you can have family resource. Start off with that exact product.
Also, independent voters an opportunity when he's on the ticket to vent their anger at Trump at the top of the ballot and cross over and vote for a Republican they might find lower level. And that's how they say
they don't offer
that otherwise, might have been in jeopardy on the trajectory we saw in 2018.
This is such a great point to zoom in on that.
They also have a director of customer service position over there. Roll through my head.
And you go up in 2018, Trump's on the ticket, you vote for the Democrat to send a signal. You come back in 2020, you can just vote against Donald Trump.
Out there, shut up.
I'm really worried about the Democrats. I want to sort of balance that and vote and split my ticket. You're saying there's some pool of voters that did that this time around, and it's pretty significant for those House races.
Yeah, when we calculate the crossover districts, the districts that voted one way for president and another way down ballot, I suspect we're going to see an awful lot of suburban districts that voted narrowly for Biden and also voted for a Republican member of Congress. But look, there's no question that part of Democrats' big problem in the House, the reason why their majority is likely to get cut in half probably, is that catastrophic loss of support among Hispanic voters. Democrats have to take a look in the mirror in places like South
You let me down.
and in Miami because they absolutely got crushed when it came to the margin swing. And let's face it, the Democratic Party today is really pretty out of touch with these voters.
Yeah, Maria, what do you think about that as someone who has worked in this space and worked in Nevada politics, obviously, when you look at what has happened in this election?
Yeah, I think specifically to that point, it might be an oversimplification. I do agree that we need to get in there, look at the precinct level and place it in those places you just mentioned. But I do think when you look at places like Nevada, like Arizona, like Georgia, like PA, you're going to see a community that looks unique and that is going to be really important to the margin. I was on the ground in Nevada for Senator Reid's 2010 reelect. It was a referendum on the anti-immigrant sentiment. When you look at what happened in Arizona, over the last 10 years, movements there have been building. What you're seeing happening now, right? You're seeing movements like Lucha and Independent build power because Joe Arpaio was targeting them, and they're doing the #1 job, which is trying to get Donald Trump fired. So I just want to point out that, only focusing on South Florida or South Texas oversimplifies a part of the electorate that has a lot of nuance. That based on where they are regionally in the country, for example, in Arizona and Nevada, Latinos have much more of an immigrant identity. They have much more of a working class identity. And so you're going to see them deliver for Joe Biden in those states. So I just want to make sure we're unpacking that a little more because it could create some really unfair takes around the coalition.
Well, let me ask what your 10,000-foot view of the coalition is. I mean, this election result.
I've been saying, for old people, is the money printing machine. don't necessarily need nursing type care, you know. Maybe perfectly capable of fixing their own meal. They just can't see to drive to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Maybe that always runs later. Come on now. You're good, bro. I'm glad I didn't hear you. Sorry for having you. Valkyrie.
It's hard to be a good president. Just as a historical fact, there's tons of political science and literature on this. It doesn't happen a ton. And you know, the fact that he's going to lose this, like he's so popular so far here, again, that's irrelevant to politics, relevant to but just in terms of who came out and voted for who, what the national mandate is. I mean,
Back in September, they got their Series B, which in the startup world means that was the second round of funding. Series A funding is the funding enabling us to get off the ground. Series B means it operated for a while. Now he's got a better plan, get some more money. And they got 18 million there, so they're way early on. Well, they're just formed in 2018. Comcast is invested. Comcast has a big startup investment. They have aspirations to do that. I mean, they do have good penetration into people's lives, but well, this shit is one way, you know. Crunchbase is a good website to use for jobs necessarily. For jobs, but not directly. It's where you can find shit about companies. They received 31 million in funding from 11 investors. Oh, I actually did a seed round too. So,
you're better at haircuts. Now, you grocery shop online. Master Hot Yoga.
like most of their traffic's out of the United States, but they see a ridiculous amount of growth, ridiculous amount of sidetracked from the UK, but it doesn't appear they operate there. They should probably consider expanding.
Where can a healthier heart lead you? For people with heart failure, taking Entresto may lead to a world of possibilities. Entresto helps people stay alive and out of the hospital. Don't take Entresto or it can cause more death than living. Don't take Entresto with a pacemaker, or else your heart will have angioedema that takes your heart. The most serious side effects are angioedema, low blood pressure, kidney problems, or high blood potassium. Ask your doctor about Entresto.
Some American needs help customizing their car insurance with Liberty Mutual, so they all just pay for what they need. When fire and water threaten your business, hand the cleanup over to the team that stays with you every step of the way in your journey back. 1-800-SERVPRO and SERVPRO.com, like it never even happened.
We have to count the votes, and they're votes that have been cast legally. And we don't settle elections on a TV schedule, despite what the president said in the middle of the night. So the question before us, if the lawful election process goes forward, is will the president's supporters accept the lawful result, even if he is encouraging them not to?
We seem to be getting close to media outlets possibly declaring the winner of the 2024 election. We are not there yet, and I have zero control over it as it should be. Those calls are made here in DC by great people at our decision desk and other areas by separate entities. And honestly, let me just break the fourth wall here. If you're watching this right now, you want to find out who the next president is. And you want the media to make those calls. Again, counting the votes is what matters here, and the result being the result. And I think with some caution that's being shown, I think across the board right now, two states right now are focused on. The first would be Georgia. That's the state the Democrat president has been based there is almost laterally tight. Joe Biden is now at just 2,000 votes, and he's steadily under. We had 2,000 out of 5 million cats. Biden appears potentially poised to take the lead as those final votes come in. So we're looking at that. Now, meanwhile, the sort of all eyes of the nation right now are on those folks, those 5 folks who look like
There's a lot of
airport where they were
company links there.
Yeah.
T care is interesting because of the segment they operate in. I swear every one of these companies run Braintree websites. It's fucking funny. I know exactly how to navigate.
If Joe Biden wins Pennsylvania, he will be the president-elect based on what we have so far, particularly in Michigan and Wisconsin. Right now, our characterization of that race is 22,576 votes. But you want to hear me talk about numbers. You want to hear Steve Kornacki talk about numbers. And I'm joined now at the big board by Steve Kornacki, who has the latest what's up and what's wrong. Yeah, let's go. I mean, Pennsylvania, there it is, 22,576. That's where it was the last time we checked in. You show the shots there. Philadelphia, they're continuing to
decide to report out another batch. We will see what that does to that statewide count. I have been monitoring the internet here. There's a live stream of the Delaware County absentee ballot count. But they shut the lights off a few minutes ago, so that's not a good sign.
Steve, I like to think that as Americans have been watching you for the last few days, your image burned in the retina. That your version of Steve Wilkes is about counting votes in Delaware County, Pennsylvania. You have been watching. That's who you have had your eyes back. Okay, so Delaware, does that mean that Delaware County's not going to report out tonight, or we don't know?
That would be my guess. They have 8 cameras. One might be the cafeteria, and not much light in the building. So I don't think we're going to get anything more out of Delaware County, which is very exciting. Philadelphia, as you can see, the question there is, when is the next update and how much is going to be included in it? We saw 13,000 votes in the last one. We're also waiting. There are more votes in Bucks County. There are more votes in Lehigh County. There are a ton more votes, by the way, 35,000 in Allegheny County. If you're wondering why we haven't been talking about Allegheny County, it's because they're going to count those.
Yeah, that fucking teeth hair looks.
It's Friday. Here later today. Friday is when they're going to do that. There has been an issue involving some of the ballots there. Legal reason them today. They can pick and choose the counting tomorrow. That's another big bad.
Apparently Washington DSA can.
Really?
Yeah. Part of the program you were in, and the area.
We are also waiting. Georgia, we've mentioned 1,709. The big one here, where I think there's been a lot of suspense, is Clayton County overwhelmingly Democratic.
Boomers.
Man, that's somewhere I've not looked at. The Department of Aging.
You make better money as a startup.
Well, if I could find a job at one of them I could do, I would definitely apply. They seem to be a little smarter about working remotely.
That is how I started firing anytime.
Do what?
Anytime, lots on Thursday.
Where is she getting another lead?
Inside Philadelphia here, overall, Joe Biden's getting 80% of the vote in Philadelphia.
Jesus Christ.
That holds, he's netting more than enough to overtake Donald Trump statewide.
Yeah, so just to get that number, that's about 53,690. And then you got to left out the remaining whatever 5,000 votes. So you're looking at a net of 48,000 votes. So if the outstanding Philadelphia, we're just talking about outstanding Philadelphia mail-in votes continue to break in the way that they have broken fairly consistently. This has not moved up and down a ton. You're looking at maybe 48,000 swing towards Joe Biden, which would overtake and then put up 26,000 votes up in Pennsylvania. Again, just Philly, just in Pennsylvania, and we think we might get a few more bursts of those votes out from that city in the next hour or 2, 3, right?
Right, and that's why we're, all eyes are kind of on it overnight, because we think we will get, more updates. It's been trying to divine kind of a pattern here from their results because sometimes they do them, an hour and a half, 2 hours apart. Sometimes they do them much longer apart. Sometimes they release 13,000 votes. Sometimes 4. So I have no idea what goes into that formula. But,
there you go. Get your job, tell them after the game, I'm gonna turn the light.
we're also waiting to see, other places that have significant outstanding mail-in ballot right now, as I say. Here, Allentown is about 10,000, it's 35,000 in Pittsburgh, Allegheny County. Just looking here, the other big ones here, we've got a couple others, 3,000-4,000. Actually, these are the biggest at this point, I would say. The 59,000 that you got in Philadelphia, the 10,000 that you got in Lehigh. Oh, and then in Bucks County. These are the 10,000 and above. Looking at it. Thank you for that update, Rose.
Shipping experience, you got user experience. I would want to talk to you if I saw your resume for that job.
Well, Chris, for the third night in a row, a parking lot has been staged for a pandemic-appropriate victory celebration. Did not see one. Of course, there were times during the day Thursday that the fight team said that they were watching as there were sound checks. There were folks
They know
Is Shane gonna get it? Oh, there's starting.
They're probably them, us and them are probably. If they're what? Problem.
Slower than anybody was hoping for at this point. So that rather early in the night was actually a live TV decision to essentially say, not tonight. That they do expect by this point tomorrow perhaps that he will be the president-elect of the United States and that he will have an opportunity to address the country. But instead, what did we see from Joe Biden on Thursday? Going about the business of preparing to govern. He and his running mate Senator Kamala Harris had two briefings, one on the pandemic, one on the economic crisis still unfolding. This, as of course, we had already seen their transition website posted.
I can appreciate a startup taking a stab and being like, well, maybe we can hire this guy away from Roe.
That's my thing. I know how much I want to make, but I don't know what wages are.
Was those, it's hard to say based on that. Job title, is that a job title? High title that. So they're at least 65%. You have to. They're basically. It's the world we live in. That is the world we live in. Believe it or not. Jason doesn't have to read my shop. I got $5 chip in there about this case. I need you here when I need you here. And plus, anybody who is confident enough in their ability to be like, well, I don't give a shit about your requirements for 30 I can do this job. I want to talk to you. If you have the knowledge, show it. I don't need to see education and experience, but I need to see Yes, standing in there. Bark's got me up. I just can't give it. It's funny. You guys like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna eat something too. Yeah, I was gonna say you look like the confused one. It's probably gonna get left out.
That's probably why you're the smallest.
Oh.
Yeah, you're such a sweet girl.
None of them seem on there yet.
Yet.
My money's on red one.
I think the white one.
Yeah, she's pretty mouthy too. And who is this climbing across the top?
Burgundy.
Oh my god, she's the fattest one. She probably knows it too. She's like, look what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna come up here and just go. Oh, Valkyrie fixed it. She's like, damn it, child, do this right. What?
The white one got like pushed over. There's like what? What is even going on right now? I know you gotta wait, babe.
most important is the ability to transform the smallest of businesses right in our neighborhoods.
He wants to play so bad.
Well, the good news is it's supposed to dry out overnight. It's supposed to be sunny this weekend, so maybe we'll go for a ride.
What you
That'd
doing?
be fun. Go for a ride. Not right now, not right now. Settle down. Settle down. Not right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But you did it today, and I know. I'm sorry. I didn't. I was busy. Tomorrow. It'll be okay tomorrow. Yeah. We'll eat some sausage or beef steak. He likes Jack Link beef steak better than Alberto
Oh, really?
beef steak. But you should see him, and every time I get back in the car from coming in from the gas station, like that dude is almost up in the driver's seat sniffing to see what I bought.
Look. The orange one, she is small enough. She is scooting up underneath the rest of them. She's like, fuck you, bitch, it's mine.
I know about her. I don't get it either. You just got 11 butts hanging off of it.
Oh, God. You're licking and sniffing my hand here.
And when we take a step back, again, we're all minutely following these votes minute by minute. It's very hard to get perspective. Georgia, being here is an astounding result. Not least because for a long time, Georgia was considered a deep red state. That has been changing.
Good girl. You're a good girl. Oh, yeah. Keep them in there. Keep them rounded up. They're okay. She's okay. Careful. Well, that is great.
It's an astounding thing to consider. I mean, it was actually a relatively close race in 2016. 2 years later, 1.5 point margin in that state gubernatorial. What's reaction to politicians of local class of
themselves there.
Probably more than like a decade in the making here in Georgia. And they're probably recognized, especially after that 2018 midterm, it's a very close race between Stacey and Elizabeth Warren. They had to be on the defensive. It was a wake-up call for that.
Oh man, they put the water towers down, they're gone. Great water tower. So the government should go and
Going to be the center of the movement very shortly, it appears, because Georgia state law, you have a regular state that open seat that was Kelly Wexler appointed to it, she had defended, and that open seat is going to go to runoff. So you're going to have two runoff elections, it looks like, in Georgia in January, probably to decide who controls the United States Senate. It's going to be what?
Mind-blowing, right? If you look at our two Senate races up until November, $200 million was spent on ads for those two races. I think that you can come close to maybe doubling that in the next 9 weeks. This will go for holidays, this will go for New Year's. It's going to be an enormous amount of political attention. It could be like the people who control weather changes now. I think that the people that are not random on kind of not fighting on President Trump's secretary. But now I think Senate control is really low. It's going to be just nuts.
And every voter, every political worker in the country, everyone invested, every donor and every voter in your state, and for other things, you watch it. Well, to send a message, most of the first big chance they're going to get is in
Yeah, you're right. And you know, it's funny, because Joe Biden was here this year, because he was pushing his special election,
What's your sense of the governor and the Secretary of State, both former Republicans, and their administration, and the message they're sending about confidence in the votes, in the confidence of
I have saved and then unsaved jobs.
also more frequently question real evidence in other states, not in Georgia so far, but I can imagine if we were to take the lead, that you would directly report the fire right now.
You ain't gonna talk.
So one of the individuals who will be on the ballot is Reverend
Their kind of idea came from there's all these stuff and they spin it as carbon reduction, which it is, because you're reducing the number of trucks used on the road. I think they're really on something. They're probably worth close to $1 billion by now. Long Rover's worth over it was. Pretty sure they still are. I mean, don't have time frame you're looking at. Well, hello there. What are you doing? Oh, man, I saw that picture of Mandy, your mom sent her earlier, and all I could think of was you laying there on you lay on like a pillow. You laying there, you know, like loving leg on the side. Yeah. You just like lay up on her belly, but she had long hair. So you just like disappear into her. You know? That'd be what that. Dude. Oh. I got the puppies live on YouTube, so you should tell your friends. Earlier, I had the camera right down there in front. The balcony came off in the field. Moved it up out of the way. Maybe this one didn't hold again. Who are you?
Like a prime.
Oh, that's Prime.
That one's got milk on its feet.
Yeah, because that was Valkyrie walked in there and was cleaning a couple of them, and a few others went and started. They're big enough that they can reach.
Yeah.
And they were sitting there, and then she went to move to lay down, and they just kind of swung off of her, and a big shot of milk shot across them. It was like they were Tarzan in front of the dude.
I like that Red's not even eating. Like it's just
just like
oh, that's
just Liam, shut up. Now, why would you just abandon your children like that?
Hey, yo, Greg, give me a funky ass thing.
Oh man, damn. Is that what you listen to?
That's my favorite intro. That's my favorite fucking.
Getting this song, this whole thing right on. They're actually from Bellevue. Like with the same high school. But they had this song on their Empire album, and it was this message left from an answering machine. Hey man, serve me like a 2-ton heavy thing. I know the fucking song. It's just the way he says 2-ton heavy thing.
Well, I'm easy. I got bitches galore. You ain't got a lot of bitches, but I got much more. I love that
Man, I
song.
still know
It's
that
so
fucking
good.
song.
I feel like people who live in our neighborhood, every time I drive home at night, I always get stuck behind someone who lives in our neighborhood.
Oh, yeah, that's happened to me several times.
I got behind a dude when I got into Monroe, and I was following him, and he was driving like 40, 49 maybe down the highway, and he was going like 30 through town. So I was just fucking playing Easy Does It over and over again at like 18 with the bass at 9. And then he pulled into the neighborhood, and he went the same way, and he turned left at the intersection. I was like, "Where's this motherfucker going?" And he lived 2 houses down from the retards with the annoying kids. Not in the new houses, the old ones.
Oh.
Like right at the stop sign. We got that. Motherfucker pissing me off. I'm so damn slow.
No, so many little easy songs. I was thinking through them all in my head.
I know all the words to that. Every single word.
Come back, homeboy, come back. Damn, that song's so old, dude.
I know.
Golly, he does it out. It's fucking fantastic.
Isn't that whole album older than I am?
God, yeah, dude. Easy was dead before you.
Yeah, he died in like. Did he die in '96?
Yeah, he died in the 90s. Yeah, like shit, man. Yeah, but Easy Does It was in like 88, 89,
Yeah.
90, something like that. Like I remember being 16 years old driving around listening to Easy Does It. I had Easy Does It on cassette. Easy Does It, Straight Outta Compton.
I have that album in my playlist.
Ice-T, Original Gangster. That's still a classic album. You need to listen to that album. That's legendary. I mean, you're gonna hear shit when you listen to that album. You're gonna hear shit like, "Oh, that's where that sample came from."
Oh yeah. Let's see. I got 50 Cent, Snoop, Dre. In the order they were added to the playlist.
But he's the godfather, man.
West Side Connection.
Oh yes, Nate Dogg. Yeah, he was the best singer of all.
So good.
He was the best singer.
You would die. The yin yang twins.
I'm sure go back to your shit, my unscarred shit.
I got so many random fucking songs.
I have to sometimes.
Give me that nuts like easy. Merry motherfucking Christmas by Easy.
That song's funny.
Like that's because I like it. Like if I hear a song, the first time I hear a song and I think it sounds funny or sounds good, I add it to my playlist and I never leave it. Yeah, I skip them. I skip them. Or I got fucking Baby Got Back by Sir Mix.
Yeah, but that's cool.
Yeah, but that's a good song. No Diggity but Life.
There you go. That's some great shit. That song.
Choices by E40.
E40, man, you can listen to all the E40. E40 better.
Break Your Neck by Busta Rhymes. Lay Low by Snoop Dogg. Purple Pills by D12. KRS-One.
Low.
Like Steve-O?
No, Ski Low. There's a song by Skilo. You need that in your playlist. I'm about to play it right now.
Wanna Be a Baller by Lil Twerk.
That's funny you said wanna be a baller. That's similar to what the song I'm about to play.
Inglewood Swing by Max Dan and Poppy Ridley. Survival of the Fittest by Mobb Deep.
Keywords in it. Okay, this is fucking stupid. What's going on? I'll just play this.
I know this song.
Yeah, I figured you might, but you probably, it's like you ought to be walking around singing all the time.
Yeah, I know this song. Yeah. I wasn't sure. Regulate. Yeah, this is, I have two playlists. One of them has like Lil Wayne and shit.
It's ain't bad.
Well, old Lil Wayne, like 2006 to 2009 Lil Wayne was the best.
Like he's, no, he's not on there. Let me. Wiz Khalifa.
Wiz Khalifa was good in his day, but he fell off. Like this one has more Wu-Tang.
Oh, Wu-Tang.
It has like Junior Mafia, Biggie and shit.
Wu-Tang or any of the thing. You can't go wrong with none of that. ODB, you got any ODB?
Maybe. This has a lot of Nas in it.
Nas, alright, this is the shit.
Yeah. DMX. This, oh yeah, Feds in My Rear View by Ice-T. That's in this playlist. Ghetto Boys.
Which Ghetto Boys?
It's Damn Feels Good to Be a Gangster, Acting Speaks Louder Than Words.
And yeah,
those are the two that are in here that I've seen so far. Road to Zion by Damian Marley. Tupac, Nas, Jeezy, MC3, Eric B and Rakim.
Rakim, damn.
KRS-One, Sound of the Police. That's the only KRS-One song I have on this playlist.
Unless you got KRS-One?
Yeah.
You got any Spice one?
No. Yeah, so I got two playlists. I got like the playlist I listen to, and then the other one is like Biggie and Junior Mafia and fucking Cube and then Pop. One of them has Jay-Z in it, the other doesn't.
I'd probably do an Eastern.
Yeah.
So then you have to question what you do with.
I'm more of a West Coast person though.
What you do with Pop.
Pop is West Coast.
But he ain't. That's the problem.
Yeah, I know.
He ain't.
I just say he came up with Dr. Dre and NWA, so.
No, he was already a thing. He was already a big damn deal for him with the Death Row. Then Biggie was making mints.
He's Midwest.
No, he's Brooklyn, man. He's Brooklyn. He's Brooklyn and went to the wrong side and got himself killed for it.
Yeah. Or fucking, what's his name? Shooting it. Fucking. I think it was Eminem who said that Suge Knight's he put a hit out on Pac to get revenge on Drake. That was Eminem's theory.
Everybody knows.
Yeah. Well, except for Suge Knight. He's still in prison.
There was no accident.
There's no such thing as an accident. What's that song by Eminem? He lists off his best list, his list of the best.
There was just too much going on between Death Row Records and everything New York.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing on.
I learned that Juice WRLD got the name Juice from that movie with Tupac that he had. That's where he got the name Juice from. Now, what is that Eminem song? Oh, I don't know. 18,000. And then put 2,000 in Georgia.
Probably posted 1,000 in Georgia at this point. In fact, I would not be surprised if actually Boston is not ahead in Georgia right
Ah, here it is. Okay, so Eminem's list of the best rappers are Reggie, then Jay-Z, then Pac, then Biggie, then Andre from Outkast, then Jada, Corrupt, Nas, and then himself. That's his list of the best rappers he's ever heard. And that was his opinion in, I don't even fucking know when this song came out, 2011.
now. Jay-Z alright, but
I'm not a Jay-Z guy. His music's hype, but that's why I like it.
he couldn't stay relevant. He couldn't keep making relevant music.
He had some good songs.
All he does.
I don't know what they have a song about anymore. We're fucking know the song about bitches.
That's what set West Coast rap apart. So they started telling the story of the real life.
Reality. That's what blew it up.
Mm-hmm. So, well, damn, I can relate to that. That's my life too.
Still not following it. Again, AP's on there that's sticking to it. No one else is. It's at like 90%.
And the Senate race went heavily Democrat. So
Yeah, but the outcome's still going to be 51-49. We'll have to take it next election.
no, I'm not as worried about that yet. I think Mitt Romney has designed on leading.
He has a brain
Well,
for
I'm
a
assuming
Republican.
they'll always be the closest, like not close.
I would not be surprised to see Mitt Romney partner with Democrats to vote for New.
I think
To vote for Kamala out of the position.
Especially after Trump leaves.
Yeah. I was talking about that.
No, maybe he just asked to be the leader. In return, if Romney, not Romney, Kamala.
So, what do you think about the Mitch McConnell and McConnell to me is.
Did you watch the new Epic Rap Battle?
No, that wasn't very good.
It wasn't very good. There was a lot of like funny disses, but
Yeah.
but that's why they're there. It was okay though. The Biden was weird. I'm surprised there wasn't more jokes about Hunter. Just fun. What are you gonna do? Make fun of like all the porn ladies? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he had like porn and shit, well, like homemade porn on the computer thing. Because apparently that has anything to do with Biden being the president. That's what I don't understand. Like, that's why I hate politics. Nobody gives a fuck about actual politics. They just see who can be insulting more.
I mean, that's only this like set of presidencies.
They don't get in the day, the clowns telling me that hope our life is attached to our body.
That's not how it's happening.
Well, you know, my issue with it is, judging by your profile picture, bro, you ain't paid tax in your life.
You know? Well, I had a guy tell me today that Oregon should have been red. I was like, yeah. It's like I saw this guy talking about how Washington was going to go red one day. And I was like, bro, Washington hasn't gone red since 1900. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
No, it's when I was a kid, I remember Washington, Oregon, both is really good.
Really?
Yeah.
Major technology and
That's exactly.
logic.
Well, everybody used to be so rural, like, none of the lumberjacks. Yeah, 1984 though was the last time they elected.
If I see one more motherfucker talking about how Colt should have won. I know this one dude on my Snapchat talking about he was talking about how defunding the police, people always say that defunding the police and like their excuses like cops are gonna lose their jobs, and then reference Lauren Colt losing his job as evidence for that. Lauren Colt lost his job because he's retarded.
Lauren Colt lost his job because he went to run for governor and the city still needed police services, so they paid the county to do it. And figured out, wait a minute, this is cheaper than paying that clown.
Plus, we now have a dumbass representing it.
But like I told your mom, I'm sure, if you remove politics, I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm not saying he's
I would make fun of him anyway.
Oh, yeah, but I'd make fun of him in a laughable fun way.
I think it's probably up to you.
Race so short.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why people on social media, they're helping me quite a bit of stuff about it. Them up.
Man, I wish we would more.
Like I told you the other day, these people don't have the gift of having critical thought naturally. So you have to walk them through that process.
So that's like 95% of the people I've ever met.
It's so entertaining to be like, okay, ask yourself this question about that. Now ask yourself this question.
Like I had one dude talking about how Biden's plan for COVID was stupid because it would ruin our economy and send us into a Great Depression. I was like, no.
And then that's the kind of guy that, well, how do you say what is he going to do? And they're like,
They're like, he's gonna close everything down and no one's gonna be allowed to leave their homes. Like, no.
Well, when is it ever happen?
Yeah. Or I had it.
I like the shit about it. It kills our small businesses. No.
He just made them big businesses.
A virus might have.
Yeah. But that's not his fault. He told you to wear masks.
And I'm sorry your business wasn't prepared to handle.
But you can't blame him.
Not all businesses succeed.
That's how it works.
Capitalism. I love that shit.
Or I had one motherfucker talking about how there's nothing we can do about COVID federally because it's not even fair that states should be able to mandate whether someone wears a mask or not, and that it violates our rights. And I was like, okay, so when you go out in public, do you legally have to wear clothes? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, so why can't you wear a mask? I'm like, because it violates my rights. Like,
I used that back when they first started with the mask. Yeah, I'm not wearing pants. My balls get hot as legs. I'm gonna let my balls air out.
You can't make me. It violates my rights.
Yeah, my balls have a right to breathe.
What? You climbing? You climbing? Fine.
I had talked with her earlier, and they were talking about it's not their full sentence, but verbatim, the part of their sentence that I copied and pasted was the last part said, we can't comprehend what's happening here. And I quoted her, and I'm like, this is the most accurate statement I've ever seen regarding this campaign. I'm going to quote it like it. And they all liked it, and one dude posted some walk away bullshit, you know. And I was like, you see, and this is my case in point. You don't even comprehend that I'm making fun of you.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Well, that's what I never. Nobody can ever understand like sarcasm. I don't know if it's just because I sound sarcastic, or people are just retarded.
No, it's Poe's law, and we live in a time where everything falls within Poe's law, which is the inability when something is so absurd it is impossible to distinguish from reality and satire. That's fair. And that's the times we live in. Things are so absurd, it's like you can't be serious.
Yeah.
Like that's not true. Like CNN, seriously, the banner headline on CNN was Trump complains that mail-in votes are being counted.
That's absurd.
It's like what the
Yeah.
what?
It's like The Onion.
Right.
Like the shit they say. It's so absurd, but it's getting to a point where
Well, I saw a funny headline about the Onion. It says the Onion was facing massive losses. They can't come up with headlines.
Yeah.
More creative
Yeah. Well, it's fucking true. Look, if I see one more person talking about how fucking Biden is like scamming and cheating because of his mail-in votes, and then it's like they're fake votes. It's like Trump encouraged his voters not to mail in vote. He encouraged in person. Did it get taken down? Hey, dogs.
Here you go. You'll get this one.
Wait, that's I know who that is. Yeah, they were making a movie about him. Yeah.
Nashville.
If you've had or have serious throat problems,
For sure. That's pretty accurate. Fucking, you know that one guy it's that one Civil War guy that you used to talk about.
John Brown.
Yeah, they're making it's either a movie or a TV show about him. All the dumb shit he did.
Well,
Like all the funny ass shit.
the show's almost over. It's only got 2 episodes left. I'm watching every Sunday.
Yeah,
Oh, good Lord, heard.
yeah, I saw it.
They're also making a movie,
Really?
but the TV show's dope as fuck.
Well, he's a dope as fuck dude.
It's got Frederick Douglass.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they play Frederick Douglass. That played John Brown, his son. That played terrified John Brown.
That's my favorite type of TV show, like historical, like accurate, or like.
Well, that's every episode starts off with, this story is true, and then the next string says most of it actually happened.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the fucking thing. Like, sometimes shit is so absurd in history that you can't believe it's fucking true.
John Brown was dope. That was
Such a badass.
He was the baddest motherfucker. We were talking about who was the first civil rights icon. Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, John Brown. There's with the holy trinity of civil rights. Country needs more John Browns.
It's hard to find them nowadays.
They're riding around pistols and shotguns.
Yeah.
You said what?
That's what people are too soft now.
Yeah, that's it, man. Soft.
You can't take a joke. Man, what? My friend Leslie posted something on his Instagram. It was like, he posted a picture or a video of someone playing Left Your Bed 2, and they're just getting like swarmed by zombies and just getting their ass beat. And he said, POV, you said something ever so slightly political, and all the hot Cheeto girls at your school are beating your ass. And it's just